For it. Let's get it going here, and we are on. Hey guys, how you going? So BKR Sport, we are live as the Cronulla Sharks will be taking on the Sydney Roosters in the final elimination game of the round, because obviously tomorrow's Raiders versus Broncos game is a double chancer where whoever loses will actually still play. The winner of this game tonight, so that game tomorrow is actually very important. We already know the other side of the draw. The Bulldogs will be taking on the Penrith Panthers after the Bulldogs lost to the Storm last night, and the Panthers went and beat the Warriors in the previous game before this. So we know that side. Now we get to find out the other side. The winner of this Sharks versus Roosters game will take on the loser of tomorrow's Raiders versus Broncos game, and it'll either be in Canberra or it'll be in Brisbane. This will be the only time the Sharks will get a home final, and the Roosters can't get a home final. So a lot to be decided right now. We know the other side, and let's get into this one. Obviously, that game tomorrow we will be live for as well, but this is a very tough game to predict. There is a lot of pros and cons that you can say for both sides here, and it is very difficult to actually get a good read about where the Sharks are at, where the Roosters are at on a consistent level, because the Roosters have been extremely inconsistent all season long, but it does seem like they've come into form at the right time of the year, which is obviously very beneficial. But you could also make the argument about the Sharks as well. You could say that they've come into form at this back-end stretch where, they have still been a little bit wonky, but they have won 3 games in a row coming to the finals, whilst the Roosters, they've won 2 games in a row coming to the finals, but they also lost the Eels 30-10, who were very much improved, and the Roosters were playing much better footy, but the Roosters got done over big time there. Look, we'll get into both these teams and their draw and how it's shaping, but I am surprised this isn't $1.90 a piece. I'm surprised that I'm being told that the Roosters are pretty heavy favourites here and the Sharks are pretty heavy underdogs. I will say before we do get into the team lineups though, the Sharks have not won a home final at Shark Park since 2008, so that is a very niche stat that you don't usually see. They have to overcome tonight, that's for sure. And also, the last time these two teams played, the Sharks got done over pretty well by the Roosters. I think it was like 40-10, wasn't it? Oh, no, sorry. No, sorry. I keep thinking about that original one, the first game where the Sharks lost 42-16 of them, but I did forget about that 31-18 win for the Sharks about 7 rounds ago. So, no, it's actually a split there too. That makes it even more a cat amongst the pigeons here. It really does make it even further difficult to predict what we are about to see tonight in this elimination final. But guys, let's get into the 2 team lineups, then we'll get into how these 2 teams have fared coming into this. We'll get into their attack and their defense stats, and then we'll get into the chat and see what you guys are saying. So obviously, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here. On our way now to 40,000, about 2,800 or so now to go, and we're trying to get there by the end of the year. So get around. We've got plenty of finals footy and international rugby league to come, and then we have the Ashes later on in the year, which is going to be absolutely a belter. But all right, the Sharks, they come to this game from 5th position, and the Roosters, they come to this game from 8th position, and this is at Sharky Park, Shark Stadium in Sydney. Now, the ins here for Cronulla, Braden Trindle, Britton Nakora, and However Peru, with the outs being Mawene Hiroti and Thomas Hazelton. So, look, it's a decent enough out there in regards to Thomas Hazelton. Mawene Hiroti for mine, I don't necessarily rate a great deal, but the 2 big ins here for the Sharks in Trindle and Nakora is absolutely massive. Have they put Nakora into the team? No, they've kept him out. They have put him onto the bench, though, which I was expecting. So Britton Nakora is back onto the bench. Billy Burns has been so good in that back row in this back part of the year, so it was just impossible to bring Britton Nakora back in, which is crazy that Billy Burns has been so solid that they couldn't bring back an international back rower. One of the back rowers of the year in recent years. He's an incredible back rower, Britton Nakora. But yet Billy Burns has been so strong and so undeniable recently that they just couldn't find a way to bring him back into the starting lineup, and especially Teague Wilton there as well. It just wasn't happening. So real bold and ballsy call here from Craig Fitzgibbon to do that, because again, Britton Nakora is one of the best back rowers in the competition, and also as a New Zealand international compared to Billy Burns. That form has just been superior. And then Braden Trindle obviously is an interesting inclusion here, because they did play very, very well, the Sharks, last week against the Canterbury Bulldogs, where they won 24-6 in a game that meant nothing for both teams, but the Sharks were still just simply more dominant and wanted to win more to get a bit of a roll on into the finals, which obviously worked, and they won that game quite comprehensively. So that was actually with Daniel Atkinson and Nicho Hynes. And Nicho Hynes was lucky not to get suspended this week. He is playing, obviously, but they have decided to bring Braden Trindle back in. That does have their questions in regards to how Trindle and Hynes work together. Atkinson and Hines clearly work together. Would be interesting to see Atkinson and Trindle, which would have happened this week had Nico been suspended. But yeah, look, it's going to be interesting to see how these two get on, who are the main halves pairing, but there's a reason why people still question if these two do work in regards to actually getting the job done and winning the premiership. Now, the fullback is William Candy, the wingers are Sione Katoa and Ronaldo Molitalo, centres of Jesse Ramian and Kale Iro. Go to the 5'8", which is Braden Trindle, and the halfback, which is Nico Hines. The front row forwards are Adam Fanua Blake and Toby Rudolph, with the number 9 being Blake Brayley, who is the captain. Go to the back row. Billy Burns and Teague Wilton. The 13 is Jesse Colquhoun. Interchange of Oregon Kafusi, Siasifa Talakai, Braden Hamlin-Uwelli, and Britton Okora comes in from that number 21 onto the bench, with Daniel Atkinson dropping into the 18th man, and the coach is Craig Fitzgibbon. So it's interesting that Atkinson, after such a great game last week for the Sharks, he's not even in the team. Obviously, they've decided that he's just not even worth it for the 14, but he is great when he's actually starting, just as an impactful player off of the bench when you've got Trindle and Hines there. However, my concern is that if Hines and Trindle, or if Hines or Trindle went down, who would you put into the halves? You know, let's say that Nico Hines gets injured here. Touch wood, it doesn't happen. God bless him. I really hope it doesn't happen. But let's just go with the assumption here, or the hypothetical. Trindle would obviously move to the 7. Well, who do you put into the 6? Are you going to put Blake Brayley there? Well, then who are you going to put into the 9? You know, it's interesting that they don't have a backup half really in this team, unless you were to maybe do like a Blake Brayley into the halves, or you do a Will Candy into the halves. I really don't know. So it's a bit of a strong option to not go with Atkinson in that 14, but we have seen it quite a lot this season with Craig Fitzgibbon actually naming him in the 14 and still him being in the 18th man. It just comes down to the concern that if something was to happen in this game, well, the Sharks, unlike other teams, like for example, right, the Titans have Jaden Campbell in their halfback and Kieran Foran in their 5'8". Now, if say Foz went down, well, they could actually shift AJ to the 5'8", who's played there quite a bit, and they've actually, you know, they've got a few options there on the team itself that they can shuffle around. But with the Sharks here, I can't see them really shuffling it around. I can't really see it. Like with James Tedesco, you could see him be moved into more of a 6 role, even though he's clearly a fullback. But the point is that you got Connor Watson there as well. So Connor Watson on the bench, it shows that they have the ability, in case something happens or in case it's not working out, they do have that ability to mix it up. But the Sharks don't. So that's a bit of a concern for mine. But that is also just talking about if an injury happens, which we hope doesn't happen. But if it was to happen, they would be in a bit of strife. Look, this is a team that can win this game. And this is a team that realistically should be favourites. I don't understand why they're pretty significant underdogs. I think there's pretty strong value if you were to think about tipping them, because again, they are the home team. The Roosters did actually knock the Sharks out at Sharky Park about 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. And the Roosters had no right to win that game, but they still won that game. They just found a way, despite being a man down at one point, and the Sharks threw away a lead. There was also the Cowboys game. The Sharks like to throw away games here in the finals at Shark Park. Like I said, they have not won a finals game at Sharky Park since about 2008. So, like, I look at this team, and it's very balanced. Like, obviously they're missing Cameron McInnes, which has been a really rough loss for them, because he is such a tough worker, such a real strong ball runner, and defensively just unbelievable. But, you know, their forward pack does look a little bit all over the shop, but they've got international talent in Adam Fanua Blake. Blake Brayley's been having a brilliant season. You know, Billy Burns, his form is through the roof. Teague Wilton's an impressive player. Jesse Colquhoun does what he needs to do, but I would like a little bit more out of that 13. And they've got plenty of forwards here off the bench. You look at their recent weeks, though, because their 1 through 7 it shouldn't really be a problem. You know, William Candy, he is very hot and cold, but was on top of the Dally M leaderboard for a long point at the beginning part of the season. He can be very, very good. He can also be very, very bad. But the wingers, Sione Katoa and Ronaldo Molitalo, was one of the best wing pairing in the competition. Jesse Ramian and Kale Iro is 2 of the best centre pairings in the competition. Doesn't mean they're the best, but they're a part of the conversation. And Trindle and Hines, based off of name alone, should be really getting him kicking. So I don't have any problems with their 1 through 7. I really don't. And then you go to their forwards, and overall I don't have too many problems. This is why I tipped this Sharks team to win the comp pre-season. Because you look across their team, and if you add in Cameron McInnes, who obviously is out, but if you add in him, this is an extremely balanced roster. It is an extremely balanced roster that should be doing more. And that's why I do lean towards the under-impressing nature of how the Sharks have been onto Craig Fitzgibbon. I don't usually like to blame the coach. With the Titans, I didn't blame necessarily Des Hasler. I don't think he was doing great for the team, but I also don't think he was the problem. I feel like the Sharks, they have the team that should be able to get their games done, and they'd have the team that should be able to win a large, significant portion of their games. They should be able to just simply do it, but they have been on scam for a lot of this season for a reason, because they've lost some really poor games. The beginning part of the year, they lost to the Panthers 28-22, bit of a controversial game there in Vegas, but who cares? It's Vegas, it's a throwaway game. And then they got off to a good 2 games against the Cowboys and the Rabbitohs, and that's all well and good, but the Cowboys and Rabbitohs obviously finished quite low on the table this year, and at that point of the year were also really, really bad. And then they got convincingly beaten by the Bulldogs. So right now, if you think about it, based off of the end of the season, these teams at the time were different positions. But at the end of the season, there's one loss there to the Bulldogs. So that's 0-1. And then they lost to the Raiders the week after that. So then they'd be 0-2. That was 24-20 there against top 8 teams. They beat Manly, that's great. They beat the Knights, that's great. They lost to the Tigers, not a top 8 team. They beat the Eels, they beat Manly, and then they beat the Storm. In round 11 was the first time they beat a top 8 team at the end of the year, and they won 31-26. They've 1-2, but then they go and get absolutely smacked by the Roosters 42-16. So now they're 1-3. Then they go and lose to the Warriors 40-10. Now they're 1-4 against top 8 opposition. Then they go and lose with the Broncos 34-28. They're 1-5 against top 8 opposition. Then they go and lose to the Storm 30-6. They're 1-6 against top 8 opposition. The Dolphins game doesn't matter because they weren't top 8. They did win that, but they beat the Roosters 31-18, so they're 2-6. And then we scroll down here for another top 8 team, and it was the Bulldogs. So we're 3-6 for the season against top 8 teams by the end of the year. 3-6. Which just simply isn't good enough for a team that has such a balanced roster and is predicted to do so well this year. You need to be seeing a lot more out of them and a lot more ticking when it comes to the game. So, look, their form at this back end has been a lot better than the form at the middle stage of the season. Realistically, the beginning part of the year wasn't actually too bad, but it was after that Storm game. Maybe they bought into their own. Maybe they bought their own product a bit too much there when they beat the Storm 31-26, because that's when they got throttled by the Roosters, throttled by the Warriors, had to come back from 18-0 down against the Dragons to win that game 30-18, but it was the Dragons. They got a massive comeback against them by the Broncos, and then got throttled by the Storm. So it was that real mid part of the season, and we saw this a lot this year, that in between buys round 2, buys 2 and 3, that teams were getting absolutely punished between this period across a multitude of teams actually, but the Sharks really didn't go well there, and then it was just. It was quite actually good after that third bye. They beat the Dolphins, the Roosters, the Rabbitohs. That was not a great game, but it was a good result, but it wasn't a great performance. Beat the Cowboys, lost to the Dragons, beat the Titans, beat the Knights, and beat the Bulldogs. So actually, in fact, since that third bye in round 18, they've only lost 1 game. And that was to the Dragons, who at the time had just come off the back of beating the Canberra Raiders, the first place team, 18-12 there in Wollongong. So their back end of the season here has actually been really good, that I think is flying really under the radar. And it's quite confusing that the Roosters, as I've been told, have been as pretty strong favourites as they are. I think people are really focusing on that 4-game stretch between bye 2 and bye 3. Because again, if you look at rounds 19 through 27, they only lost 1 game, and that was to their rivals, the Dragons, so they don't usually lose to. If they didn't lose that 1 game, do you think that people would have a lot more belief in them? Again, they played the Knights, they played the Titans, they played the Cowboys, they played the Rabbitohs, right? But they still also beat the Dolphins, who were flying hot at the time and scoring 50 points for fun. They also beat the Roosters, who people are really hot on right now, 31-18. They also they scored 50 against the Titans, they scored 40 against the Knights, and then beat the Bulldogs. So I think people are really underestimating the Sharks here. I think they're not really looking at the fact they've only lost 1 game. 1, 2, 3, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1 since round 18. 7-1 since round 18. So that's why I think that it's really interesting that the betting markets and how people are talking is like the Sharks are done and dusted. If they're done and dusted, that's what happens, because that's rugby league and anything can happen. But based off of that, Not too sure about that. That does give a lot of confidence to Sharks fans. Now, in regards to the Roosters, Sandon Smith is in, Ethan King is out. Sandon Smith, obviously an inclusion that you do like to see, but the fact is that he's the 18th man. So there's actually not too many. There's not change here at all in regards to that. He's the 18th man. Ethan King drops out. Sandon Smith is looking likely to be moving elsewhere. With the fact they found Hugo Savala, they've got Sam Walker, and they're looking towards a different future without Sandon Smith. So it's not surprising that he is the 18th man here, even though he'd be pretty frustrated by that. But not too much change there. Now, the fullback is James Tedesco, who is the captain, with the wingers being Daniel Tupou and the big Mark Nawaqanitawase, who has been absolutely incredible this season. Unlucky that he can't win Rookie of the Year, but I also understand it because he is a professional player. Over many years has played at the national level, international level. For the Wallabies, I do get it, but it is harsh. The centres are Billy Smith and Robert Toya, with the 5'8" being Hugo Savala, and the halfback is Sam Walker. Front row forwards are Spencer Leniu and Lindsay Collins, with the number 9 being Benaya Uelu, who was originally meant to be the 14, and now he's the 9. This happens every week, guys, so it's not a surprise. Angus Crichton is the back row alongside Victor Radley, and then Nafahu White is the lock, and like what happens pretty much every week, Connor Watson is on the interchange, was originally the 9, now he's the 14, with Blake Steep, Egan Butcher, and also Siwa Wong rounding out the interchange, and Sandon Smith is the 18th man replacement, with Trent Robinson as the coach. This Roosters team was predicted to have a down year. I predicted them in 4th last, and I was pretty happy with my prediction for a large portion of the year, but obviously they came home strong like the Panthers, and it proves the Roosters' culture, man. It proves that despite the fact that they lost so much experience in Luke Keary, they lost so much experience in Joey Manu, Jared Rea-Hargraves, all these kind of guys, and also Joseph Suaalii, but they can still find talent. They can still find guys to replace them. Robert Toya has had a breakout year of epic proportions. Nawaqanitawase, you can't have more of a breakout year than Nawaqanitawase has had for the Roosters. They've found Hugo Savala that's been doing a great job for them. These guys, they just keep on pulling through. And the Roosters culture, they just know how to find their guy that keeps them in the hunt. They're kind of like a Geelong in a lot of ways for the AFL, where everyone just always kind of tips them out of it, and then they still just continuously keep on going, right? The Geelong is more so with age. The Roosters is more so, I don't know. This year was a valid thought process, though. If you tipped them outside of the 8, if you tipped them in the bottom 4, you are not wrong for that opinion. In hindsight, yeah, sure. People like Roosters fans are going to shoot you and say, you had us at the bottom 4. Ha, 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 ha. Well, I don't give a fuck they say that. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, at the end of last year, I was talking to a lot of Roosters fans, content creator Roosters fans and whatnot, and they were all of the belief that they were in a rebuild year. They were all of the belief that they were going to go through maybe a bit of a struggle right now because they do have so many changes. Right, so everyone thought that. Everyone was thinking that. And now, of course, their fans are going to say, well, you called us here, or everyone called us here, and we're here, so ha-ha. Let them do that. They are entitled to do that. But they were thinking the same as everyone else. It's just they've got the ability to talk and talk shit, right? Because their team has gone and superseded the expectations. And their team is solid. I think that it was just the experience loss that we were worried about it. But again, they still just find a way. And also, a big issue was that Sam Walker was out for the first half of this season. So not only were they losing players, but they also had their main halfback out for the first half of the year. And then when he came back, obviously this Roosters team got firing. So that's a key point, that when he came back, he has become bigger and better than he was before, which was a concern that maybe he wouldn't come back and be bigger and better than he was before. But he obviously has exceeded the expectations and done what he's paid to do and come back and absolutely kill it. So you can't hate on that. And this Roosters team is dangerous. Their 1-7 is fantastic. They're Tedesco, Tupou, Billy Smith, Toya, Nawaqanitawase, Savala, and Sam Walker. Let's go through it. Tedesco has been an Australian international and potentially could even knock it up with the Australian international, even though they probably think they do go with Dylan Edwards. But I do think that Tedesco should be international there in the fullback. Tupou, he's an international for Tonga. Nawaqanitawase, he has the potential to play for Australia, but he may play for Fiji. Either way, he's playing international. Robert Toya, he was an incredible key part of Queensland this year in their surprising Origin victory against all odds down there in New South Wales. Even in their game, they played awfully Queensland game 1 at Suncorp. He was their best player as a debutant. Billy Smith is a very, very strong player. Doesn't have original international representation, but it's a very strong player. Same with Hugo Savala. And then Sam Walker is obviously being clicked on as potentially the next Queensland 7. Dearden's the guy now. It was kind of between here, Sam Walker and Dearden. Dearden has really turned it on, and Munster's there. They don't change that, right? Maybe Sam Walker in the future. Not sure. I think that's kind of been put behind. But the point is, they're 1 through 7 is incredible. The Roosters. And then, look, if you go through their season so far, at the beginning of the year, again, it was a struggle. They lost 50-14 to the Broncos in the first game of the season. You're thinking you crash shot, you predicted the Roosters to suck this year. But then they go and beat the Panthers 38-32 in a very different time of the season. A very, very different time of the season where everyone expected the Panthers to win this game. They just come off the back of beating Cronulla in Vegas, and the Roosters were like 12-1 underdogs to win, and they won 38-32. It was an incredible turn of events. Absolutely incredible turn of events. And we should have told us right there and then that the Roosters still just had that culture about them. They just knew. Actually, I spoke about this. I'm pretty certain I predicted that. I'm pretty certain back at the time I said that I've got a feeling the Roosters win this game based off of their culture because no one believes in them. I'm pretty certain I do, and people who were watching the streams back then probably would remember that as well. But then they go and lose to the Warriors 14-6. They go and lose their only game to the Titans this year 30-12. I won't let you forget that one. Then you went and lost to the Rabbitohs 20-14, and then you kind of found a little bit of form. You beat the Broncos 26-16, lost to the Panthers 40-12, but then won 46-18 over the Dragons, 36-26 over the Dolphins, lost a close one to the Bulldogs 24-20. That was the no-one in Dewase fantastic try game. Beat the Sharks 42-16. Actually, a real big point to make here is how did they fare against the top 8 this year? And then we'll get into their final few games. So Broncos finished in the top 8, so that's 0-1 with their loss 50-14. The Panthers finished in the top 8, but they won 38-32, so that's 1-1. Then the Warriors finished in the top 8, so that's 1-2 because they lost 14-6. The Broncos finished in the top 8, so that is 2-2. Then the Panthers is 2-3. They lost 40-12. And then you scroll down to the Bulldogs, 24-20 to Bulldogs, so that's 2-4. Beat the Sharks 42-16, so that's 3-4. Lost the Raiders 26-24, so that's 3-5. Scroll down to the Sharks again. They lost 31-18, so that's 3-6. Lost the Storm 34-30, so that's 3-7. And then the Bulldogs, they beat 32-12, so that's 4-7. And then beat the Storm 40-10, so that's 5-7. So they were 5-7 against top 8 teams this year, but that is more top 8 teams they had to play than the Cronulla Sharks. You know, they were, I think they played like 9 games against top 8 opposition, whilst the Roosters have clearly played. I think what was it, like 12 games just then. So they played a few more top 8 teams this year, which is probably the reason why they've actually finished below the Sharks there, only by the 4 points, because actually the points differential for the Roosters would be above them, yeah? Plus 132 to plus 109. Yeah, the Roosters would have finished above them if they probably had played a couple less top 8 teams, but not that they would have wanted that. So overall, that's an interesting stat there. But you go through their recent weeks. Let's go through since their third bye. Their third bye was round 17. So in round 18, they lost to the Tigers 30-28 on 1. Then they went and beat the Dragons 31-24, so that's 1-1. Then lost the Sharks 31-18, so that's 1-2. The Storm, they lost 34-30, so that's 1-3. And then beat Manly 20-4, 2-3. Beat the Dolphins 64-12, 3-3. Beat the Bulldogs 32-12, 4-3. Lost the Eels 30-10, so then they're 4-4. And then won their last 2 games of the season to be 6-4. So it's a lot more inconsistent there than the Sharks over that stretch since their third bye. The Sharks had their bye in round 18. The Roosters had their bye in round 17. There's 1 extra game there. If you want to take out that round 17 game or round 18 game, you do take away a loss there against the Tigers. But the point is that they lost the Tigers in that time frame, and they lost the Sharks in that time frame. And they lost to an Eels team in that time frame that came 11th. So it's more inconsistent than the Cronulla Sharks in this back stretch, which is why I will tell you that I am leaning towards the Sharks getting the upset here today. I feel like people have written them off. I'm pretty certain that people don't believe in the Sharks at all, and I'm a bit confused by it. I think that the Roosters are a team that could come in and win this game well, but the Sharks defensively this year, they've given up 490 points. The Roosters have given up 521 points. That's a 31-point swing. Nothing too crazy, but the Sharks are the I think 4th best defense in the comp, behind the Storm, behind the Bulldogs, behind the Panthers. That's it. Sharks, I think that was it. 490. I just want to make sure nobody else was there. 490. Only behind the Panthers, the Storm, and the Bulldogs. So the Sharks are the fourth best defensive team in the comp this year, whilst the Roosters with their 521, they're behind the Raiders, behind the Storm, behind the Bulldogs, behind the Broncos, the Sharks, the Warriors, the Panthers. So they're at 8th right now. They situated themselves right directly in 8th where they finished the season for defense. So Sharks were top 4 for defense. The Roosters were top 8 for defense. Sharks being 4th and Roosters being 8th. And then in regards to the attack, the Roosters have scored 653 points this year, whilst the Sharks have only scored 599. So Cronulla with 54 points less, but the issue is that the Roosters had a struggling team with players out, lots of experience, and also injuries. Sam Walker for half of the year, so that will hurt that quite a bit. With him being back, they've scored a lot of points. Most of their points actually did come in the back part of the year, scoring 64 points against the Dolphins and 40 points against the Melbourne Storm. So that does need to be applied, but the Sharks with their 599 for points scored are behind the Raiders, the Storm, the Broncos, the Roosters, the Dolphins. Is that it? Yeah, so they are 6th best attack in the comp, the Sharks. 6th best attack, and then for the Roosters at 653, they're 1 point behind the Raiders, behind the Storm, behind the Broncos, and behind the Dolphins. And that's it. So the Roosters are 5th. So it's kind of a switch here. The Sharks are the 4th best defense in the league. The Roosters are the 5th best attack in the league, whilst the Roosters are 8th for defense, and the Sharks are 4th for in regards to what are they? What were they again? In regards to defense, they were top 4. Anyway, Sharks were top 4 for defense. Roosters were 8th for defense. Roosters were 4th for attack, or 5th for attack, and the Sharks were, I think it was 6th or 7th, wasn't it? They're actually right next to each other. Yeah, no, they are. They're right next to each other, so that'd be 6th. Yeah, so this is an interesting battle, and this is why I keep saying, this is why it's very surprising that people are completely underestimating and taking the Sharks out of it. Maybe it's just the hype from Nwanga Tuwase. Maybe it's just the hype from the way the Roosters won those games by quite convincing margins, but we'll only have to wait and see tonight, man. It's going to be an interesting game here. Elimination final. Whoever loses is eliminated. Whoever wins plays the winner of tomorrow's Broncos-Raiders game, either in Brisbane or Canberra next week. But let's get into the chat here, guys. The game starts in about 30 minutes time, so hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'm getting ready to rock and roll for another finals game here, son. Getting ready for another finals game. Let's move that bad boy over there, that Chatola. Move that, open that up, and away we go. Olivia says not a good day for New Zealand. Oh no, did the All Blacks lose, did they? Did the All Blacks lose? Oh no. Wow, they lost. Oh, they didn't just lose, the All Blacks. Oh boy, they lost. Jeez, how does that happen? 43-10 to the Box. How does that happen? 43-10 is crazy stuff. They were winning when people were talking on the stream before. They were winning. Gary says definitely not, Olivia. Alphonse says yes, tough start off in a wet condition. Sean says Sharks were a top team in wet weather. Is it wet in Sydney? Is it wet? I didn't know. Is it wet? Who have you tipped? Feel like it'll be a lot closer than a lot of people are expecting. I agree, Big Smudge, based on what I just said there. I'm actually tipping the Sharks. I'm tipping the Sharks. And I think that there is definitely a world where any team wins this game. I think it should be $1.90 a piece, if not $1.70 to the Sharks. I think the Sharks should be $1.80 to the Sharks. I think Cronulla should arguably be favourites here. I think people have just got a bit of the wobbles, but I don't know why they would have the wobbles when the Sharks are 7-1 in their last 8 games. And the Roosters are, 5-7? Or something like that. It was 5-7 or something around that point. They've scored a lot of points recently, but they've still lost, a few of their games since that third bye, inclusive of that Eels game and stuff like that. The Sharks lost to the Dragons, but outside of that, they did away with all the teams outside of that since their third bye. Fastman says, go the Sharks. Olivia says, whoever said in the last stream at least the All Blacks are winning at half-time deserves it. Wow, it was a half-time as well. So time out for his crimes committed against all of New Zealand. So New Zealand were leading at halftime and lost 43-10. That's actually crazy stuff. Yeah, biggest ever defeat. You like to say biggest ever defeat? No way. Sure, is that their biggest ever defeat? The All Blacks ever, ever. Wait, does that mean that Australia's on top of the Rugby Championship right now? Rugby. I know we lost to Argentina. We got the bonus point. Rugby Championship. We are on top of the. Wow, Australia are top of the Rugby Championship right now, thanks to that bonus point. Australia are on top of the Rugby Championship right now at that bonus point. That's sexy. But we do have to play the All Blacks now the next 2 games. Well, the Bledisloe Cup's coming up. The Bledisloe Cup is coming up, and it will depend on that. If we can win one of those games, the Wallabies, and then hope that Argentina can steal something from South Africa, then the Wallabies might actually win the championship. If they can win the Bledisloe Cup and the championship in the same belt, wow. UTAP Leon says Sharks by 10. Scott says Warriors fans, regardless of that bad call in the Panthers game, you're building something nice at the moment. I don't know if I would agree necessarily with building something nice at the moment. I think that there's a lot of questions about next year because where does their attack improve? So if they're building something nice, which is based off of a 1-year thing, what are you saying? I know you're trying to be nice, but to give you a realistic return serve, like what are they building? What is it that they're actually building? Because their defense for the second half of the season was really poor, which was kind of what we more so expected preseason. And then their attack was never good throughout the season. There was never good. At no point was their attack for the Warriors actually good on a consistent level throughout the season, even when Luke Metcalf was there. So what are you assuming is being built here for the Warriors? Because I struggle to see what improves next year, because they'll still have Metcalf, and if Metcalf's not there, it's Hunter Boyd, Shannon Harris, Tavita, and Tamani Martin. Who jumps their name off on paper to you? Whose name jumps off on paper to you that will adjust their attack? Metcalf was let go from the Sharks, mind you. He was let go from the Sharks, went to the Warriors, was doing great, but overall that didn't mean and the Warriors were actually attacking well at any point of the year. At any point of the year. When Luke Metcalf was there, they were in the bottom 6 for attack, or maybe bottom 7 for attack at the time. So, genuine question. I'm asking you so I can open my mind. How do you? What are you saying is being built in New Zealand, and what improves for next year? Should be proud of how you went this season. Agreed with that, but the other one I slightly disagree with, but agree with being proud of how they went this season. DB7 says, Chirp BK just come back from the Wars game, gutted but proud of the boys. Absolutely, should be proud of the boys. There's no disagreement there. You've got to be proud of the team. Everyone would tip them for a low spot this year, and they found a way to get up. Obviously, what I just said is still what I believe, but they proved me wrong. They proved everyone wrong, and it was great to see. And look, it was unlucky. The Panthers just were able to pull over the top in the end, and there was a controversial couple of calls, but you know, at the end of the day, the Panthers just knew how to win that game when it got to the crunch. Big Smudge says, we didn't shit the bed against the Broncos in the last 20, and if we didn't shit the bed against the Broncos in the last 20 and let it in a freak try against the Raiders in the last 30 seconds, our season will be so different. I think it's a bit ridiculous to be referring to the Raiders game, because to say that the whole season would be different based off of a round 5 game against Canberra, which I remember the game with Sebastian Chris scoring, which was a freak try. I remember it. But how does that change your season? How does the game in round 5 completely change the context of your season? Okay, sure, yes, you're into the top 4 there. Okay, so I'll grant you the specific ladder positioning, but I hope you're not referring to like a overall season context, because the season still played out kind of the way it did, and we still would have had those kind of concerns throughout, but you would have ended up having to play Canberra in Canberra, which would have been really interesting. I will grant you, though, that Broncos game. The Broncos game losing 34-28 when you were up like 24 to... 24 to 4 or 24 to 6 or something at halftime, and yeah, you shit the bed there. That game, I feel like, did impact a lot of the context of how I don't think people have gotten over that. I think that's actually what people are really looking at here. I don't think people have gotten over that game, and maybe they haven't gotten over the Roosters 42-16, because I'm seeing everyone focus in on the 42-16 against the Roosters in the last time they played, but they're wrong, because the last time they played, the Sharks beat the Roosters 31-18, and guess what? It was at Shark Park. When the Roosters beat the Sharks 42-16, it was in Gosford. It was at Industry Group Stadium in Gosford, 42-16, but I'm seeing everyone online refer to that game as the last game these two teams played. Well, it's wrong, because the last time they played was in round 20 at Shark Stadium, where the Sharks won 31-18. And it was a good result there for Cronulla at the time because they needed it. It was a very, very big game where the Sharks were looking like they might have been falling out of the top 8 at the point. Daniel Bates says, morning, this is the most intriguing game of the year. Really hope it delivers. I think that... well, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll give you that. It's a very intriguing game. Most intriguing game of the year, maybe not so much. But I actually think tomorrow, if it wasn't for the fact that it's a double chancer, I would say that tomorrow is probably the most intriguing matchup of the year. Shannon says, evening team. Hopefully we're in for a great game. Good luck to both teams. Daniel says, Roosters are a little like the Panthers in that regard, I guess. In what regard? Clebby says, Mark, I'm going to say first try score, I got $50 on it. Well, good luck. Can't wait for our 10% deposit. Nobody says, less pressure when you aren't expected to do anything. It can be an advantage if you still have hungry players wanting to prove people wrong. Less pressure when you aren't expected to do anything. Well, I don't know how the Panthers come into that, but okay. That's an opinion. Awkward but cool says, what time does the game start? Game starts in about 25 minutes time. 50 past. Whatever time zone you're in, 50 past. Libby says we got thrashed. Now Wallabies are first in the ladder. Yee-hoo! Yee-hoo! Jan says, hey Blaze, hope you're doing well. Obviously disappointed with the result, but glad to see Boyd and Clark got another chance at finals and proud of the effort. I'm tipping the Sharks, but by 2-4. Yeah, don't mind the prediction of the Sharks 2-4. I could also see a world of 13 plus. I couldn't see a world where the Sharks actually whoop them, but I also could see a world where the Roosters whoop them. I think this game has anything on the cards. I think anything can happen. It just comes down to if the Sharks can remove their hoodoo where they suck at Shark Park in finals. They suck. Sharks fans argue it. Please, I beg you to tell me I'm wrong in regards to you sucking at Shark Park in finals. It's great that you had a fantastic home record this year. This year you had a 10-2 home record. That is the second best home record just behind the Raiders at 11-1. That is incredible. I commend you on that. But also, you are an O and however many since 2008 at Shark Park. So you need to get rid of your own hoodoo at your own home stadium, which is a crazy statement to make. It's crazy, but it is what it is. It's a fact. So it's going to be super interesting how this game goes because I think the Sharks are clearly the better team, but there's a lot of things that go against them too. Jack O'Neill says, hopefully a great game tonight. Down in Canberra at the moment, tampering with all the toilets to try and slow Walsh down. Yeah, fair enough. We do have a few injuries, but yeah, it's not like us at all. Since 1964, Shannon. We were only winning by 2 at half time. Oh, dear me. The Wars will be cheering because everyone will be talking about the All Blacks instead of them. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say so. I don't think... I feel like that's why... Like, we saw a pretty... A lot of Warriors fans annoyed, but if the All Blacks game wasn't on, I think that you would have seen a complete destruction of the internet with that forward pass no call. But because the All Blacks game was on, most of them were just easily distracted by going to watch that game. So they didn't have to think about, that forward pass. They probably would have switched over when the Panthers ended up scoring again. So that's why I feel like it hasn't been as much of an influx. But look, the Panthers deserve to win the game. Because much as that purely means surrounding a top 4 position in the way the critics speak with the Sharks definitely would change the players' mental state throughout the year. I don't know. I don't think so. Again, the top 4, granted, 100% because you're in the top 4, but the whole season has changed from that point. I don't really like if you're taking on the very merit of if the season's like, are you saying that the season goes a lot better because of one result against the Raiders? And he's saying the season has been really disappointing from the Sharks just because of that one result against the Raiders? Because if that's what you're saying, then that's a really poor mindset this club has because they shouldn't be allowing one game to be the defining result. I don't think that if this season plays out the exact same way post that Raiders game, provided you don't throw away that game and don't have Sebastian Chris run that big long try, provided the season still goes the exact same way, I still think people are going to criticise the team the exact same way. It's just that you've got a Canberra win and you're in the top 4 instead. Because if you had have made the top 4, you had a chance to make the top 4 last week. And the Broncos, if they had lost the Storm and the Sharks had have won, I guarantee you that people would have still been talking about the Sharks the exact same way they're talking now, but just as a top 4 team that wouldn't be getting knocked out in week 1 of the finals. They'd be talking about the exact same problems and the exact same issues. I'm surprised that people aren't talking about the fact they are 7-1 since their third bye. But nothing would change in regards to the conversation if they had made the top 4. Nothing. And nothing. If the Sharks had have beaten the Dragons, for example, they would be in the top 8 right now. Top 4 right now. If the Sharks had have beaten the Dragons 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I think it might have been 5 weeks ago actually, because the bye. Sharks had to beat the Dragons, they would be in the top 4, and they'd be playing Raiders tomorrow. They would be. So, like, realistically, then we'd seen the Sharks in the top 4, and we'd still be talking about the exact same issues. Ibrahim says, hopefully Sunnies can win today. I hope so, man. I do have the Lions to win quite well, but I would love to see the Sunnies do well. Jared says, keep your hands off that Bledisloe Cup. Yeah, you better hope we do, because otherwise you won't hear the end of it. Big Smudge, I think it builds a pattern of being to fight against top teams, which is necessary for going deep in the finals. I don't think the season changes, but I think it would instill a bit of belief in the players. Well, the players need to find that themselves, realistically, which I guess is to your point. However, again, we go through their record against the top 8 teams, and overall, it just hasn't been pretty across the board. So it's not necessarily that Raiders game, but they beat they beat the Bulldogs 24-6, which should give confidence last week. I don't care what the Bulldogs fans' excuses are, because at the end of the day, both teams had nothing to play for. In the close games, actually, let's see top 8 teams in close games. They beat the Bulldogs well, so forget about that close game there. A close game against the Roosters, I'm okay with it being that 31-18 with the Sharks kicking a field goal. That is a close game for the most part of that game. So that's 1-0 in close games. I know people are going to say 13 plus. I get you, but I'm going to claim that as a close game based off what we saw in that game too. Not a close game with the Storm. Close game with the Broncos, 34-28 was a loss. That's 1-1. Big loss to the Warriors. Big loss to the Roosters. Close game against the Storm, 31-26 Sharks. That's 2-1. If you want to go and look at bottom 8 teams, they've lost a lot of really poor close games too. 20-18 of the Tigers was bad. If you take out that Roosters win from being a close game, Sharks actually really aren't great in close games. Yeah, they're not. Like Panthers 28-22, close game. Raiders 24-20, close game. Yeah, they're not great in close games. They won 31-26, but they're not great when it gets to the crunch. So I wouldn't necessarily say they already had lost a close game to the Panthers 28-22, but before that Raiders game even happened. Before it even happened. Laurie says, yeah, Kiwis more pissed off the way we lost, got killed in the second half. Box wanted it more. It was a defeat, then it wouldn't be that bad. Yep, I agree. Sean says, Jared, it's been a long, long time. Let it come for a visit once every 20 years, mate. Once every 20 years. Mate, we're getting on to what, 25 now? 24 years? I think 2001 was the last time we won the Bledisloe, I think it was, maybe, or 2002? Either way, it's been a long time between drinks. It was like how South Africa felt when they lost to the Wallabies. It meant close defeat, not a thrashing. Yeah, but that's because we're the greatest rugby union team of all time. Wallabies are the greatest of all time, so they're the greatest of all time. About 15 minutes to go until the game kicks off here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. About 15 minutes to go until the kickoff. Please be a good game. Last game was a good game until it wasn't. It was a good game until it wasn't. And then it just absolutely fell apart towards the end. But again, the Sharks and the Roosters are similar positions in regards to attack and defense. The Sharks attack versus the Roosters defense is similar positions, and the Roosters attack to the Sharks defense is also pretty similar positions. So it's a very, very odd battle here. It's an odd battle where they both link up with each other, and that's why it's so difficult to make a call, which is again why... Actually, can someone please in the chat let me know what is the odds right now? Because I can't see the odds in Vietnam. What is the odds? Is there still a strong favourite here? I'm actually going to run to the bathroom before this game starts, guys. It starts in 15 minutes' time. Thumbs up and subscribe. I'm just going to run to the bathroom here, and then I will be back any moment now. we are back and ready to roll. We are back and ready to roll. Big Smudgeheads odds have got even wider in the Roosters' favour since Hazelton got ruled out. That's wild. Since Hazelton got ruled out, the odds have been well in their favour. They've still got Adam Fanua-Blake, an international prop. They've got Toby Rudolph, who actually had a really good game last week against the Dogs. Then, Oregon Kafusi I'm not a big rater of, but Braden Hamlin-Welling does a great job. They've actually brought in Britton Nakora. Like, if you're losing Hazelton, well, you're bringing back in Britton Nakora. How on earth? Demon New Zealand Sharks are $2.20 underdogs and Roosters are $1.68 favourites and the line is plus 2.5. Well, I saw that before him. That's actually the same as what I saw before, Big Smudge. If that's the odds, what it is right now. I was told about that. That was pretty similar odds yesterday or the day before or whatever. I just don't know where this severe confidence. Like, everyone was off the Roosters for a long time. Maybe it was just that Dolphins game. Was it just the Dolphins game that everyone jumped on this Roosters wagon and said, choo-choo, mother bitch, that's it, they win the comp? Have people just, forgotten about the fact that they really struggled in the first half against the Rabbitohs last week? Have people really struggled to remember the Eels game where they lost 30-10 just 3 weeks ago? Okay, yeah, they beat the Bulldogs 32-12. That was a good result. And they beat the Storm with 8 Storm players out. Their lineup was a complete mess, Melbourne, in that game. Was still up 10-0 at half time, mind you. They had Kane Bradley on the wing. Marion Seve, his centre partner. So they had no Xavier Coates. They had no Jerome Hughes. They had no Harry Grant in the game. They had players out literally everywhere. There were so many players that were being rested and Tui Kamikamica. All these guys were gone from the game. It's like people just don't look at who the Roosters are playing or the context behind it and are just looking at the results themselves. But then they're still forgetting about that Eels one. And, they still lost the Storm 34-30 and the Sharks 21. And that's the key telling point. No one's talking about the fact the Sharks beat the Roosters at Shark Park 8 weeks ago. The last time they played, but yet people keep referring to the time when the Roosters beat the Sharks 42-16, which was in Origin, and the Roosters had 5 Origin players out. The Sharks had literally no Origin players this year, and that was a bad loss to the Sharks, but that was also 3-4 months ago. Whilst the Sharks beating the Roosters 21-18 was 8 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago. Fair enough, I hadn't seen him in a couple of days. Sheriff Money says, honestly, it felt like that Dolphins game when it started ramping up. Yeah, it would have to be. But, just no one's looking at why. They're not looking at why. Damn, I'm looking at a highlight here of Nico Hines, and he was swearing at the camera. I don't know. That's not what you usually see from Nico Hines. It was in another game. I don't know what it was. And now they've got to make me feel depressed again by showing us the Sharks versus the Titans highlights. That's the thing. If you're going to talk about the Dolphins who are outside the top 8, well, you can talk about teams that the Sharks have been absolutely whooping lately too. Pretty much the hype around the Roosters is crazy at the moment. I don't agree, but I can see why people are favouring them. I think the hype is coming from the fact that Mark Nwangatuwase has had every time he touches the ball, he kills it. And I think that's really where the hype is really being drawn to. I don't think the hype is really coming from Robert Toya, even though he had a great Origin series. I think it really is just being derived from the fact that media are always talking about Mark Nwangatuwase, and even if you're a casual watcher or you're not a casual, or you're a every game watcher like we are, if you love the game, you just sit back and you regardless. I think that the media is really kind of forcing a Roosters mindset right now. I think that's the only answer. Jack O'Neill says, NRL media is so reactive, it's wild. I've picked it up, especially this year. Bulldogs coverage and the swinging between their thoughts on Galvin, their chances. The Bulldogs, Fox League, and NRL 360 and all that kind of stuff has just been through the roof, dude. The Bulldogs this year have been obliterated by the media. Whether it be the positive circle jerk that originated into the just slander, week in, week out, of a 19, 20-year-old kid that is only done to appease a certain category of fans, which then was able to push that narrative down to the wider group of fans. Media pushes these narratives so much unconsciously, even at times. It's not unconscious, mate. Nothing the media does is unconscious. They know exactly what they're doing, brother. Big Smudge says Sharks completely shut Mark down last time they played as well. So interesting to see if he continues the form. Did he? Okay, I'm gonna go have a look at that previous game. Obviously, I would have been streaming it, but that was 7 weeks ago. Now we've done shit. In 7 weeks, we would have done 8, 16, 6 weeks after, but 8, 16, 24, 32. I don't even know why I'm counting this as if it's not just 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48 games. We would have done 48 games in between that, so I can see why I've forgotten a lot about it. 31, 18. 2 per decimal and Crichton score for the Roosters. The Sharks had Kennedy, Teague Wilton, Hines, Billy Burns, and Christopher Illa score. Player stats. McInnes was a big involvement in that game, who's obviously out here. Roosters, Nwanga Tawasi. So he played the 80. He had, well, I don't know if I'd say he's been shut down. 18 runs for 110 metres, 15 kick return, 39 post contact. Didn't score a try though. He had 7 tackle breaks. He had 7 tackle breaks and had 4 tackles made for 0 missed tackles. So I wouldn't say he was shut down, but not to the electric best that we've obviously seen from him recently. Shaq O'Neal says, meant people following the narratives unconscious at times. Oh, no, the narrative being viewed is always going to be unconscious from most people. Unless you understand how the media operates and unless you understand how kind of the world operates, you're always going to be led down these paths from whatever source you're watching, whether it be news or whether it be rugby league. Vince, it's good to see you, brother. Warriors didn't play well today. They didn't deserve to win. Agree. A couple of controversial calls. They were close, but the Panthers just ran over the top of them in the end, and the Warriors were looking tired, and they just kind of fell apart. So overall, the Panthers were the better team. Not that the Panthers were incredible themselves, but the Panthers were the better team. So it's unlucky. We see him next year, otherwise. We see him next year. Not a good day for New Zealand, but... UTAP, let's go to the Sharks. Bulldogs in 360 went circle jerk to slander to calling it a master stroke. No circle jerk, pun intended, to absolutely defamation. Absolute defamation, I wouldn't go as far as absolute defamation. That's a big comment. that's a strong message, that one. 8 minutes to go until the game starts. So what it says, the other game they had Chad playing 5'8", and the first game between the two he scored and they pumped him. The other game they had Chad playing 5'8". Hold on. Are you talking about the second one? Hold on. Roosters. Sharks. The 42-16 for the Roosters. Sharks were heavy favourites that day. They had Savala and Sennett Smith. They still had Dom Young at the time. Nwanga Tawase was the centre in that game. Did he score? Yeah, he scored 1. So we're going to push that there. Okay, so the second game. You're saying Chad Townsend played the 5'8 and the 31-18 game, did he? Or halfback, was it? Team list. Oh, Chad Townsend played the 5'8. They did have Sam Walker, though. So they did have their key halfback, comparatively to Savala and Sandon Smith. But I get you in regards to the Chad Townsend criticism. I do get you. Thames says, bring back Metz, Barney, and Ali/Rocco. Yes, Thames, yes, but a lot of problems kind of were still there with the team in attack when they were there playing full strength. A lot of the problems still resided there. Mitchell says at least they took all their attention off the Tigers for the first time ever. Yeah, but that's because the Tigers ended up finishing in purgatory, so there's nothing to talk about. What's there to talk about from a team finishing in purgatory? The only teams that you'll see the NRL media talk about are teams in 17th, 16th, if they're a big enough team, that is. And then teams that are in the top 8, and then obviously high priority on the top 4. So the Tigers sat in the middle of purgatory there, so that's why they weren't really spoken about too heavily. Someone says, yeah, the second game they had Townsend. Yeah, they did, but they also had Sam Walker. So they had a completely different halves pairing, and they've actually mixed the two today with Sam Walker and then Hugo Savala. I do like their halves pairing today better than both of those games, though. Because Chad Townsend, he played a little bit too long in his career, I would say. I think he just kind of pushed that a little bit too far. Not that I think he signed with the Roosters thinking he was really going to play. It was just unfortunate that Sam Walker ended up getting a long-term injury, and then he had to play for a large part of the point of the year. But 5 minutes to go until the kickoff. Come on, please be a good game. We haven't seen I would love to see an extra time game. Maybe just in the finals. Last year's final series was so dead. Bulldogs Manly was the only good game. Even the grand final. Bulldogs Manly was the only good game. Last night's Bulldogs versus Storm game was brilliant. The Warriors Panthers, it had the shape that it was going to be a fantastic finish and then just died in the arse with the no forward pass call. And then we just got to really hope that we find something that goes down to the wire, man. You hate seeing blowouts in finals. You hate seeing it. You just want a reason to give a shit all the way through because you have so much hype and so much passion and so much excitement for the game. And then with it being finals, you think, oh, both teams are going to turn up here surely. And they don't. And you're just like, oh my gosh. You know, we're feeling like we're watching Knights versus Cowboys at a more quality level. Knights-Cowboys game, I'll never get that game out of my mind. Blade's been warming up for this game for a good while, ready to pump on now. We have been. Yeah, we definitely have been. Well, I'm not used to doing a whole hour. You know, I'm not used to doing the whole hour pre-show. Like, a lot of the time with, like, Fox and stuff, they do a whole pre-show, but they have, like, 4 or 5 people, right? And 4 or 5 people just talking with each other, but it is difficult for a whole hour beforehand. The last one was quite easy because everything was... the last one was quite easy, but the second one, yeah, no, it does. You get tire yourself out a little bit, actually. You tire yourself out. It's 4:45 and 36 degrees, 80% humidity, hot as. I'm in the beautiful aircon right now, but it is absolutely bucketing down rain here in Vietnam. Bucketing down rain, and now I have to go out. I have to go out tonight as well, so I'm going to be exhausted after this. I'm going to be exhausted, but we keep on pushing. We keep on pushing. Has there been a team in the top 8 that hasn't been on fraud alert? Yes, the Gold Coast Titans. Yeah, this team right here, buddy. That team right there, champion. That team right damn well there. If you want me to be specific outside of the banter, then the Raiders. The Raiders never on fraud alert. They've only lost one game in their last like 20 rounds or some shit. It's like it's been ridiculous. 1 or 2 games. Yeah, because that's right, they lost last week, so it would be 2 games in the last like 20 rounds or something. But funnily enough, hey, if the Raiders win the comp this year, it's the first team to win the comp despite having 50 points put on them. I don't care about the context. There's still 50 points put on them, so I'll remove that stat so quickly. Jared, what's on the menu for tonight, Blaze? I don't know, mate. I don't know. I had a great breakfast this morning. I don't know what to have tonight. Maybe a bit of Western food. Banh mi! Banh mi! Yeah, banh mi. No, I can't do a banh mi for dinner. Can't do a banh mi for dinner. He has his late night massage. You're off your rocker, Jay. Out, then's the ping pong show. Vietnam, no ping pong show, mate. But you know what's about to be a ping pong show? No, I'm not going to make that show. I'm not going to do it. No HSP in Viet. Oh my gosh, a HSP. No, I think that's a bit too thick right now. I think it's a little bit too thick. All right, so the Sharks and the Roosters are getting ready to run out of the field. They are getting ready here. What's one animal you wouldn't eat? Most. Dog is a great start. Dog is a fantastic start. Cat is another start. A lot, Scott. A lot. We would never do anything like that. Never. No way. No way. All right, so give us some score predictions in the chat. Give us some score predictions. I actually really hope that it's pouring down rain all night and I don't have to go out. If that would be a great case. Now, we love dog. We don't love dog, Olivia. We ate dog last night on the Changs tonight. Chang is Thai, no? Chang is Thai. I'm Vietnam, mate. I'm Vietnamese. We're not in Thailand. Not Thailand. We are Vietnamese. Vietnamese. Yeah, 1 hour has been a slog, lads. Get some game on. Here we go. The Roosters are running out of the field now. Get some game on. Get some game on. But all right, Roosters are coming out here for the game. Let me just refresh this score. Refresh this score so that will go live when it does and Jay doesn't have a meltdown because that guy just needs help. I think I'll be sticking with Cronulla 1-12, but who knows? Yeah, I'm going Sharks 1-12. Again, I could see a world the Sharks come out and absolutely blitz it, but I'm going to stick with the 1-12. Is Sam rating? Olivia, I think that Sam might have passed away. I think we might have spoken to him very recently, but truly, at this point, I don't know if he's alive or not. I don't know if he's alive or anymore, Jay. I think, listen, we just got to give up on him. Him and his Raiden, him and his Virgin Online games, I just think he's done and dusted, you know. Seb Watson says, Jay won't even see it for the first 10 minutes. Yeah, exactly right, Seb. Jay always misses out on updating the live score. All right, so Braden Trindle, 20 try assists, 18 line break assists this year. Let's see if he can get it going tonight. The Sharks are out in the field, so the Roosters. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Buck says the Sharkettes are looking delicious. The old Sharkettes, mate, they are fire. The old Sharkettes, they know what they're doing. Franco says, game on, go the Sharkies. Well, I've tipped the Sharks. I have tipped them tonight. And right now, the Sunnies are playing against the Brisbane Lions too. So keep me updated quarter by quarter, not score by score. Wow, 14-14 right now. Okay. All right, Sunnies, get into them. All right, Sunnies, I like it. Get into them. Sharks will be kicking this ball off here to the Roosters. Scott says, I hope Dazzy's doing right. Dogs play Panthers. Should be a good game. Oh, dude, Sydney, if Dogs beat the Panthers and knock them off their streak, God help us. So the Roosters, Spencer Leniu brings it out to the 15 on first tackle. Bucks and Sharks have a 30% win rate on the top 8 teams. Yep, that's great, but they're also 7-1 since their third bye. 7-1 since their third bye. Second tackle over the Roosters at the 20. Yeah, I'm going to have that AFL score over there. Suns are leading 20-14. Kind of says. It just says, Killers, Mac must have gone to Sam's house. Oh, yes, the old Killers. Oh, yeah, fair enough. Fourth tackle now for the Roosters at the 35 through James Tedesco. Ranger ref means we're in for a cracker. Let's go, son. Yeah, it means we're in for an interesting officiated game. Fifth tackle now for the Bondi Latte Sippers at the 45. They get to Hugo Savala, and he's going to whack this ball down into the corner where it'll be Will Candy. Picks up the 10. Whiskey with the knees is Marky Mark. First try, let's go. And this is what we're talking about, guys. I'm not having a crack at you here, Whiskey with the knee. But this is what we're talking about here, guys. The Roosters' hype is coming from Mark Nawaqanitawase. It 100% is coming from Mark Nawaqanitawase. Because, that's going to be a knock-on here from Ronaldo Mulatalo. That is going to be a knock-on from Mulatalo. He's complaining about something I don't think you challenged 2 minutes in. And it's a knock-on from Mulatalo off of their first touch of the ball. Not from Sam Walker. No way, Buck. No way. The reason why, again, the Roosters still lost the Eels 3 weeks ago. The reason why the Roosters have all this hype right now is because Nawaqanitawase is playing at such an exceptional level that the media is just really knuckling down on him week in, week out, day in, day out. You know, they are applauding him, which is deserved, but everyone is buying into the Roosters hype based off of that. Who do you see talking as much about Sam Walker? Sam Walker should be getting a lot more recommendations and commendations based on the fact that when he came back is when the Roosters season started. But that's because we say that. A lot of people haven't been looking at that. But also a lot of people don't like to talk about the fact that the Sharks beat the Roosters 31-18 about 7 weeks ago. First tackle now for the Roosters, 24 metres out. They go from left-hand side. And now Spencer Leniu, he's going to be at the 15 on second tackle. Rolls it back in to Benai Uelu. He's got Hugo Savala, Sam Walker. Sam Walker gives it to Robert Toya, and Toya is going to be 13 metres out in third tackle. Gary says, g'day everyone, how are we all doing? Are you well? I'm flying, son. I'm always flying. Sam Walker gives it to Nafahu White, and he gets crunched in a tackle back to the 20. Wow, driven back. Monkey Muay Thai is picking Sharks 20-10. A lot of people here getting around the Sharks, to be fair. I'm surprised. To be fair, though, the poll does have 58% for the Roosters, which I'm not surprised with. Fifth tackle now at the 5. Even though I've gone the Sharks, but most people are on the Roosters. Oh, Nawaqanitawase drops the ball, goes backwards. Robert Toya might have a chance to score here. Oh, he'll be tackled short. The scramble from Cronulla comes up clutch. I thought Toya was going to score for a second there. I thought Toya was going to score. Nawaqanitawase goes up, knocks the ball backwards to Radley, and then Radley to Toya, and Candy luckily just holds him alongside. I couldn't see who was on the bottom of the play, but now let's see how the Roosters do to kick the Sharks down inside their own 10. First tackle, 5 metres out from their own line. And Mulatalo now to the 10 on second tackle. This is going to be a really strong defensive set from the Roosters. And now third tackle here at the 15. I was expecting the Roosters to get off to a bit of a better start here. The Sharks usually take a little bit to get into the game. We saw that against the Newcastle Knights a couple of weeks ago. We see that for the Sharks quite regularly. They're not necessarily a full 80-minute team. Oh, it's the 40-20 attempt here. Oh, it's not going to have the angle on it, though. It's a great kick that lands at the 10, however. And Nawanga Tawase gets it and brings it back here to the 15. That was a great kick. If they had the angle for the 40-20, then that was definitely going to be in. That would have gone out around the 10. Big long kick there on fourth tackle from Trindle. Second tackle now at the 20. But yeah, the Sharks are not a full 80-minute team. When they feel like they've won, they put the cue in the rack. It's very obvious when they click off thinking that they've won and get complacent, which obviously can be a detractor, but usually they're up by a decent amount by the time that happens. But they don't always get off to a good start. They were down 10-0 to the Knights before coming home over the top of them, even though that was controversial too. Bucks is good result for the Sharks. Pretty average set before that. Fit tackle for the Roosters at the 45. And Savala, he will kick this one down to the 10. And Kennedy, I think the Sharks have done well here considering the early mistake from Malatalo. They're away here on the left-hand side. And then he gets taken up to 25. Good run there from the Sharks, however. Kobe says, why does it say Titans first? Because the Titans haven't lost a game all season, mate. Because the Titans have not lost a game all season. You've got to click on, man. You've got to really watch the rugby league. We watch every game here, man, so you got to click on and understand when a team's undefeated, they're going to be in first position. That's just how mathematics works. So third tackle here for the Sharks, Tina Katoa. Now to Nico Hines. Hines runs into the 45 on fourth tackle. And the Sharks fans are booing something. I don't know what they're booing. Adam Fanua-Blake, he'll bring this ball inside the attacking half. Fifth tackle now at the 45. Only 3 months until we fly to Oz for a month. Well, get around it. Exciting match this one. Sharks had a great game last week. What are your thoughts on this game? Gary, I just did a whole full damn well hour of a preview, and you have the audacity to come in here and ask me what my thoughts are on this game. I literally just did a full-blown hour of conversating about the Sharks and the Roosters in a preview for the game, and you come in and have the audacity to ask me my thoughts. Get some help. Get some help. No, you're all right, Gary. I obviously know you just tuned in. Roosters now at the 45. Fourth tackle now at the 50. Good run from Tedesco. Titans get 3 weeks off. They're automatically in the grand final. Mate, they've already won. We're just allowing every other team to have a bit of a laugh for the fun of it. Nafahu White now will be at the 40 on fifth tackle. Really good to see the Titans women's team, though, today. They were down when I had to start streaming that Warriors versus Panthers game, and we're down by about 10, needed to win to make the finals, and won by a field goal. Coming back, the ball bounces here from the Roosters, goes back again, and Sharks get the ball at 20 through Nico Hines. They get the ball at 20. I thought Nico got suspended from that Bulldogs game. So he did, but then I'm pretty certain they must have, the review panel must have said, no, it's okay, it's not a suspension. Or I don't think they contested it, because I didn't see anything about a judiciary. I don't think he contested it. I think they just decided that it wasn't worthy of a suspension, if I'm not mistaken. They might have overturned or something. So the Sharks now, they'll get this ball here to the 45 on fifth tackle. And Nico Hines will put this one down to the 20, to the 15, where Daniel Tupou will be forced to bring it back into the 25 on first tackle. Bucks that took it back once the injury was less than thought. Well, see, that's where it's bullshit. That's where it's ridiculous, the NRL rules. It shouldn't be about the severity of injury. It should be about the act of play. It should be about what you've actually seen and the dangerous play, a dangerous tackle that was made. And I'm not saying that his was, but I'm just saying that the suspension should come via the merit of what you saw, not via the merit of the injury that comes because of it. I think that should be... Oh, that was a forward pass there. Well, there's a knock on there from the Roosters anyway. Oh, no, they're going to say knock on Sharks here first. But there should have been a forward pass against the Roosters just then. They reviewed it after the medical reports came in, apparently, and downgraded it from what I read. I just don't know. That's a forward pass from Tummy Half from Uelu. That's crazy. That's crazy. But they will... Yeah, that was a strong play from Nawanga Tawase before. The balance of them to keep going despite that little trip up there from Trindle. So scrum here to the Roosters. Bucks is not going to complain though. I'd rather see Nico playing just to make it more of a power game. Don't know about the Para game, but Toya just got absolutely annihilated by Ronaldo Mulatalo. He's just got slapped. He just got slapped by Mulatalo, and he's letting him know it. Oh, he's knocked the ball on too, Robert Toya. That is a big hit from Mulatalo. And you don't want to get him rolled up because he'll just go at you all night. He will just get into your ear all night and make sure you know your shit. That is what Mulatalo's job. When he applied to be a professional rugby league player, he put on his resume that he is a professional shit talker. So you don't want to get him going. He's fired up, bless him, Nate says. Do you know you really feel Ronaldo? That's a great idea. I would love to hear it. Put the mic on him. And Sharks will lose the ball on first tackle, but it goes backwards. They're very lucky. Billy Burns at the 35. 10 minutes gone in the first half, guys. 30 minutes to go of the first half of this elimination final. Hit that like button and subscribe. Teague Wilton will get this ball now to the 40. Second tackle. But I don't understand what the Para game, making it more of a... Oh, you just said more of a game. I don't know where I got Para from. I must be so tired. 45 metres out. I must be so tired, you fuck. I don't know why I thought you said Para. But who says it would be any less of a game, though? Because Daniel Atkinson and Trindle might work out. You know, it's just like people thought that last week's game wouldn't be too much of a game, even though I tipped the Sharks against the Dogs, because Trindle was out, but Trindle and so Atkinson and Hines ended up being brilliant together. So the Sharks now get this ball to the corner. Mulatalo chasing it through. Good chase, but Nawanga Tawase gets up in the air, and he will get this ball taken down to the 12, first tackle. Get up the GC Suns. See how they doing right now. Oh, 22-21 on the Lions. Big Q clash there. Ronaldo did a hit on Holmes in the Pack Champs once and just yelled in his face after shoving his head down. What a character. Yeah, these are the kind of characters you love to hate. Like, it's enjoyable because it's part of the entertainment of it all. But at the end of the day, it is just part of the entertainment of it all. And that's going to be I think, forward pass they've called here from the Roosters. It's going to be Sharks ball at the 35. Yeah, it is a forward pass from the Roosters, so they should have been picked up for one before. Well, the Sharks are going to get their first attacking opportunity of the game here. Here we go. Uelu. And no, that wasn't a forward pass. What'd they call? Oh, they're saying Radley lost the ball in the tackle. I was going to say that made no sense because it definitely wasn't a forward pass. Osmosis is coming to Sharks. Well, I've tipped you. So Sharks here out of the left-hand side. Mulatalo, he'll be 35 metres away. Really looks like he's pretty fired up here today. He was talking on a podcast about his battle with Nawanga Tawase and that he was ready for it. So let's see if you are ready for it, because that is like he was saying that, check his resume. He's been in the high ball game for a long time, mate. You're not in the same kind of context and calibre as Nawanga Tawase high ball-wise, but, prove us wrong tonight. Adam Fanor-Blake, he'll get this ball to the 18 to the 15 on fourth tackle. Franco says Sharks score first. Well, they are on the line. Nico Hines underneath, and it's going to be Jesse Colquhoun, 7 metres out, fifth tackle. Let's see this kicking game here. Do they give it to Trindle? Do they give it to Hines? They give it to Hines. Short ball into the line. Teague Wilton, knock on, hard and flat. They don't go to the kicking game. It's going to be Roosters ball at 10. Not the best pass there from Nico. He was also going to get done over anyway. Teague Wilton was getting 100% tackled. Savala... Or maybe not, actually. Teague Wilton probably had the line straight through. If it wasn't so hard, I think Teague Wilton actually does score that. I think he probably would have scored. That's unfortunate there from Nico Hines, because if he just gets a soft ball into the chest to try. 2 errors apiece so far in this game. Not surprised, though. The Roosters are a team that do make a lot of errors in games. They can still win the games, but they make a lot of errors. I think they're third for errors this year. I'm pretty certain they're third for errors, if I quickly look at the stats. And Cronulla getting back to the 15. They're showing some severe intensity. All right, teams, errors. The Roosters situate themselves in second, sorry. They're second. Hey, Knights fans, can you believe it? You actually finished in third for errors this year. So the top 5 in errors were the Eels in 5th at 284, the Storm in 287, the Knights in 306, the Roosters in 311, and the Cowboys on 316. That's crazy that a second place Storm team was second and a 8th place Roosters team was in second. Gee whiz. That's crazy that 2 top 8 teams and 1 top 2 team were in the top 5 for errors this year. Jimmy Chickenberg says, am I the only one that gets pissed off by the Broncos? Do you know where you are, mate? 4 tackle here at the 45. Klaus says, I'm from the Shire. I said, yeah, the Sharkies. Yes, same as my mum. She'll be watching this game tonight. Toby Rudolph. They'll be at the 45 on the Roosters side of the field. Nate Jason, that pass from Hines was like a plate of cold beans. Yeah, if he actually just passed it a little bit softly to the chest, it was a try. But they go Teague Wilton off to Kale Iro. Oh my gosh. That was just horrific from Cronulla. And now the Roosters get the ball to the 30. That was absolutely horrific. And then they give away a penalty. And I don't know what Tedesco's saying here, but he's getting lippy at Nico Hines. That was absolutely diabolical from Cronulla. I don't know what we just witnessed just then. I don't know what we just witnessed on that just now. Jimmy Chicken Burns says, oh, I'm in the wrong stream. No, you're not in the wrong stream. We hate the Broncos, mate. So it's going to be... it's going to be Roosters Buller at the 40. Imagine being the top 5. This could be me. Hey, Mitchell. No, not everyone can be like the Titans, mate. Come on. Come on. Don't even think about it. Don't even get it in your mind. Take your mind off of the Gold Coast Titans right now. They're the most obviously greatest team of all time, but you've got to get yourself and stop thinking about them because it's disrespectful at this point. The Tigers fan. Olivia says she hates the Broncos. Yeah, no, we understand that, Olivia. Third tackle now at the 20. Tickets Anonymous is next door. Chicken Boy. Chicken Boy. Tearing me. Chicken Boy's getting slapped now. They go out to the left-hand side of Tedesco, and Tedesco's going to be at the 15. Highlights. HC says, look out for Nwanga Tuwase. Oh, my gosh. That's a bold call, man. Nwanga Tuwase? Really? No way. Right-hand side of Toya, and Toya's going to be the 8. Nwanga Tuwase? Is he a good player? Can he score tries? Or is that what we're waiting for today? It's not a bold call, bro. It's one of the most hype plays in the game right now. Vinay Uella, and here they go, right inside. Sam Walker up for Nwanga Tuwase. Molitalo. That's a forward pass, I think. Yeah, it will be a forward pass or knock on from the Sharks, and it's going to be a dropout coming up for the Roosters. There's no offside in goals, so it's fine. Like, come on, highlights HD. Like, what are we doing? You've come in here to tell me the most hype player in rugby league right now that has the highest amount of tries scored this year, I'm pretty certain, is one to watch out for. Like if you had said maybe Jesse Colquhoun, I'd be like, okay, well, that's a big shout. Or if you had said maybe, Billy Smith, I'd be like, oh, okay. But you said Nwanga Tuwase. Oh, no, Roosters a bit wobbly, but they do get it, goes backwards. And now they bring this ball into the 35. Is Mark Nwanga Tuwase a debutant? Looking forward to seeing what he does. Yeah, no, it should be good, mate. Should be good. And now Roosters, they're going to get this ball to the 28 to the 30 on second tackle. They roll it back to Uelu, James Tedesco, short ball into the line. They're 15 metres out. Yeah, Mitchell, look out for Nico Hines. Hey, guess what? I've got a bit of an advice for you guys. Next week, Panthers play. I want you to look out on this nice little up-and-comer. His name is Nathan Cleary. He plays in the 7. One that I think will be a good player. I think by the end of his career, he might win at least 4 premierships. It's a bold call. But just look out for that number 7 for Penrith next week, mate. You know what? That 1 for the Brisbane Broncos tomorrow. Keep an eye on it. That's a knock on. He's lost the ball. Yep, that's a lost ball from the Roosters. So it's going to be Sharks ball at the 10. That's going to be Sharkies ball at the 10. Nafahu White just drops the ball. Cold. And Sharks get the ball. End of first quarter, 23-22. Good game. Oh, come on, Sunnies. Oh, Sunnies. Bucks, something like a Bulldogs Prem over Panthers getting it again. Oh, that would be such a hard sell. That'd be such a hard sell, but I get ya. As an Eels fan too, that's crazy. I'm a Titans fan, so kind of whatever really. But I just know the ramifications. But as an Eels fan, that's a crazy comment. So it's going to be Sharks ball here at the 13. Hope 2023 does not repeat. Don't want the Roosters to win again. Yes, that was the year. Thank you. I was trying to remember what year that was. Was Cowboys 2022? Yeah, Cowboys was 2022, wasn't it, Ethan? So, forward tackle now for the Sharks at 25. Blake Brayley to Ronaldo Molitalo. And Molitalo will get the offload away. Was that knocked on by the Roosters? No, it's just play on. It's a forward tackle at 22. Not a good set here for the Sharks. Adam Fanua-Blake, he will now be at the 25 on fifth tackle. Still 0-0. You would have expected a bit more points in this game, really. And they'll kick that ball up to the... Oh, they might let this bounce here. They will let this ball bounce. This could come off nicely here for the Sharks. No, Roosters get it. It goes backwards and it'll be Roosters ball to 45. Cowboys was 2022 and Golden Point when Sharks was second. Yeah, Val Holmes kicked the field goal from 40 out. Yeah. Britton Nakora still waiting to get on here. 20 minutes gone in the first half, guys. 20 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Nate says not doing themselves any favours, the Sharks. Not doing themselves any favours. They're not getting a great deal of meters in the middle, but they're not an 80-minute team. They play in spurts. It's just that the Roosters make so many errors, but it comes down to the opposition's defence. If they can... it comes down to the opposition defence. Right inside Robert Toya, they'll be at the 20 on 4 tackle, which the Sharks defence is top 5. Because the Roosters can score. They can score plenty of points. Last year, they had the most attack in the entire competition. And this year, they're in the top 4, despite the fact that they... oh, geez, Navajo White for 10 metres out. Despite Sam Walker being out for half the year, they go back to the right side. No one into Wase. Oh, back into the inside. That's incredible. If they score this still, he kept his feet in bounds. Tedesco, he'll throw it back again. They kick this ball through. That will go out for a 7-tackle set. That's really good holding there. That's really good holding there from Kaoliro. It was ballsy because it could have sat in, but it will go for a 7-tackle set for the Sharks at the 20. We'll go for a 7-tackle set. Anyway, what I was trying to say was that the Roosters can score, but they make a lot of errors. So when they have the ball, they can score, but they're also probably going to make a mistake. So when they have the ball and they do score, it's usually... Like the Dolphins game, that's why it was so easy for them to just break through them, because they can score and the Dolphins' defense is absolutely shithouse. But the Sharks are a very good defensive team, so that's why maybe this game is actually a low scorer, because the Sharks haven't been the greatest on the attack this year, and the Roosters haven't been the greatest on the old defense this year. So ultimately, it does come down to the Sharks' structure holding, and the Sharks probably should win this game based off of that, but it is super close right now. And Sione Katoa, he'll get this ball to the 50 on 4 tackle. These two games are the exact same as 2023. These two games, right inside, the Sharks are away here. The Sharks are away. Billy Burns, he kicks this ball over the top. Nico Hines chasing through. Is that ball going to bounce? Is it going to sit up? Is it going to sit up? Is it going to sit up? Oh, so close. And a 7-tackle set comes up. Oh, get up, Tedesco. Stop sulking. Get up. So it's going to be Roosters ball here at the 27-tackle set. These two games are the exact same as 2023. So Sharks, Roosters, Warriors, Panthers? Yes. Yeah, first week of the finals. Panthers first and Warriors fourth. No? Is that right? 2023. Yeah, 32-6, but that was at Bluebet Stadium in Penrith. Yeah, you're right. All right, so second tackle here for the Roosters, and they're going to be at the 43 on the Roosters side of the field. Connor Watson, quick ball, and Egan Butcher, he'll be 44 metres out. Penalty. Penalty against the Sharks here for a shoulder charge is what he's claiming here. A shoulder charge? Let's see this again. A shoulder charge. Blake Brayley comes in there. Well, he is wrapping his arm, dude. Yeah. That's really interesting. The commentary just said this too. That's not a shoulder charge. The fact is that it looks like he's going for the shoulder charge, but then he's got his arm wrapping, which negates the shoulder charge, which is what Reece Walsh has gotten away with a lot because he is putting that arm out. Whether he's going for a shoulder charge or not, at the end of the day, he's thrown the arm out, which is where Reece Walsh has been saved on numerous occasions. But they just penalised Adam Fennell Blake for it. First tackle here with the Roosters, 5 metres away from the line. First tackle. Connor Watson off to Nafahu White, and Nafahu White will be 4 metres away now. Second tackle. Their best attacking opportunity of the game. Here's 6 again. Definitely their best attacking opportunity of the game. Savala, Sam Walker, and Roosters at the 9. Angus Crichton, first tackle. Can't get a quick play the ball there. They go to the left. Sam Walker then spreads it back to the right. Egan Butcher steps. Oh, geez, the scramble's okay, but Roosters are knocking heavily on the door right now. They're banging. They are banging on the door. Sam Walker, Savala. They got numbers. Nawanga Wase. He will. That's a try time for Nawanga Wase in the corner. He's just too strong, man. He's just too strong. And look, I think this is pretty poor on the Sharks to not have been able to cover that side. They do know. Why I'm going to say this is because the Sharks come in, but then they realise to not go over the centre. They know they're going to Nwanga Tawase, so they've got to really come back across, and they've really got to make sure they get those numbers across, which they didn't do. And that's why Nwanga Tawase just had the ability to get over the line of the corner there. And it's like they waited. Like I think Mulatalo gets completely done over there, and so does Will Candy. And then as soon as he enters that corner, he does score. So it is 4-0 with the kick to come. Yeah, Mitchell, he warned me about him. That guy did warn me. Yeah, no, good selection. Yeah, no, I've never heard of Nwanga Tawase before. Great selection. Great choice. Great choice. Yeah, Mulatalo got done over him by him big time there. Mulatalo just had to bite off and just run straight at him. He couldn't stop like that and slow down. Yeah, that D is no good, Jack, from both Will Candy and Mulatalo. And Nate says 25 tries in 24 games. Marky Mark is a freak. He is. He is. There's a reason why he was playing with the Wallabies, man. He really is. You know, kind of ironic my name is Chicken Burgers. What? So Nwanga Tawase with 24 tries. And that was just, too easy. Like, again, look at the Sharks. They all come in, but then Mulatalo, they have him cut off. Like, Mulatalo and Will Candy have Nwanga Tawase cut off, but they bite in on the inside, but they've also got Kale Iro coming across on the inside. Like, regardless they have the cover there, they just need to go for the player, but they got bit off on Nwanga Tawase stepping when they should have just gone for him, because no matter what, they have the cover. They have the cover there. Does he get 30 tries by the end of the season? Well, potentially. They've got to go the long way, so potentially. And they do play... If they play the Broncos next week, then there's a good chance. If they can play the Broncos and beat the Broncos next week, then there'd be a good chance of it, because the Broncos can definitely give up some points. Mark should be in the third row right now. Too good with the goose there. Yeah, too good with the goose, but like a pretty poor defense from Mulatalo and maybe not so much Kennedy. Yeah, no, because they both bite in on the inside play. They both bite in on it. So it's great work from Nwanga Tawase, but it's poor work defensive reading-wise from Mulatalo and Will Kennedy. And Walker from the sideline, he will miss the kick. Well, Ainsey, you reckon? I'm going to message him. Hold on. I'm going to message him. I'm going to message this bloke. Excuse me, sir. It's 4-0 right now. I just saw the Roosters take a kick. It seems like Sam Walker maybe does actually miss the kicks. Yeah. No, I've just seen him. I've just seen it. There you go. I'll see what he replies. He'll be at this game, but I'll see what he replies. He'll know what I've just sent him a voice message of. He'll know. But all right. So 4-0 to the Roosters. 15 minutes to go the first half. Ask him how many hot dogs Steve he is. You're an idiot. You are an idiot. All right, to the Roosters. We'll grab this ball at the 3. And now Lindsay Collins to the 10. Strong run, though. Is there a chance you second-guess yourself when you defend him because he can do so many things? Well, that's exactly what Mulatalo and Candy, I guess, just did. And Nwanga Tawase breaks away from a couple. Oh, my gosh. He actually is a cheat code, dude. Like, he actually is a cheat code. Like, it's just so difficult to bring this guy down. If he plays like this for his career and stays in the game of rugby league, he may go down as one of the best wingers of all time on this form trajectory. Like, assuming he has this form and maintains it for his career and does stay in NRL and doesn't go back to rugby union, he could go down as one of, if not the best winger of all time, with this the way that he is as a player. And I don't think it's too debatable on a long-term trajectory based off of what we see now. So right-hand side, now the Roosters will whack it on up. And I think that's a knock-on from the... No, it's a knock-on Roosters first, they say. Knock-on. They might challenge this. I thought this was a knock-on Sharks first, and they will challenge this. Time to go to the game, I would assume so, Jay, yeah. Whiskey with an ace, the smartest best bet. This is Marky Mark for first try. Put $20 on him with the last one, the multi. So off to go. Collect $696.80. Well, Whiskey with an E. Can't wait for the 10% donor. A nice little $69. How good. How good. Tedesco goes up and... Ooh. Have they said that the left hand touches it originally? And I don't think he originally touched that. I think it's off Kennedy first. Unless they're saying, I would say, yeah. Will they say this is in? They're just saying if Will gets a touchdown at any point, otherwise it's knocked back from the Roosters. I think they're saying it's off the shoulder here of Tedesco. And then it goes backwards here from Tedesco. They might go inconclusive. I don't know. Yeah, they're going to support the on-field ruling of a decision, so it's going to be inconclusive and the Roosters keep their challenge. I would say that I would have said that the captain's challenge is successful based on the fact that it wasn't a knock-on. Because I don't think that Tedesco knocks that ball on. I think if anything, it came off the shoulder here. If you're going to say it's a knock-on from the Roosters, I think it comes off his shoulder, but it comes off his hand backwards, so the shoulder's fine. I would have given them a successful challenge, but it's still Sharks, or whoever got the ball. I don't know who got the ball. I would have said it's not against the Sharks, and maybe it's fit tackle still, or it's just Sharks ball with their challenge remaining. But anyway, it's inconclusive, whatever. So it's going to be second tackle. No, it's going to be a penalty for the Sharks. If Marky Mark played in the NRL for so long, he could have broken the try-scoring record. Well, how old is he? Mark Nawanga Nitawase, age. He is 25. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, he probably doesn't have the ability to go break it now. Seb Watson with a 20 euro donation. Look at him flying right now, the old Seb Watson. He's even got me in his profile picture. Where's my Vietnamese hat? My Vietnamese hat on here. It says winning bet tip percentage. This must be about 500 Aussie. Crone or get around Marky Mark. Get around your Seb Watson. Yeah, £20 in AUD is about $2.4 million. So we appreciate that, mate. We appreciate that. Thank you very much, Seb Watson. Third tackle now at the 30 for the Sharks. Nico Hines up to Braden Hamlin-Uwelli, and he bumps off of Connor Watson to the 20. Still pumping those legs too, Braden Hamlin-Uwelli. Still pumping them. Now to the left, short ball to Oregon Kafusi, and it's a forward pass. Sharks being Sharks. Sharks doing Sharks things. Lil Dark Fire says, is it fair to say that Mark is just a taller version of Brian To'o? I think taller and, yeah, just as strong / stronger. I think the one to us could be the return of the tall wingers. Because for a long time, people were really idolising Brian To'o for legitimate reason. But now you look at Brian To'o and say, well, you'd like Brian To'o, but with height. So I guess that kind of leans into what you're saying. Oh, lost ball there for the Roosters, and it's a strip for the Sharks. What are you doing? What are you doing, Sharks? Are they going to challenge this? They are going to challenge it. They are going to challenge this. They weren't convinced. They weren't convincing themselves there. They'll get you another month in Vietnam. No, they'll get me another 34 years in Vietnam. Yeah, Nico doesn't look confident here, but he's relying upon whoever he's asked. It must be Billy Burns. Nico Hines there, and no, he's just lost that ball. This is a good challenge. This is successful. It's a loose carry. This is a successful challenge. Sharks get the ball at 20. That's a great challenge there. They nearly didn't challenge it, but they did, and they get the ball. Yeah, no way. That was a strip back. Well, Nico wasn't convinced. He was originally pretty angry, and then it seemed like he wasn't going to challenge, and he quickly asked, I think Billy Burns or whatever, and then they said challenge. But anyway, Sharks hit the ball here at the 20, so they get very lucky there that they decide to take it. Will Candy go to the left-hand side? I think the only issue with Nwanga Tawase comparatively to Brian To'o is that I would say Brian To'o is a better defender than Nwanga Tawase. I would say that. So Hamlin-Uwelli will be at the 10 on second tackle. Blake Brayley, he goes short ball. Oregon Kafusi with a strong run to the 4, third tackle. Third tackle. Now it's off to Nico Hines, then across to Trindle. Trindle here. Oh, that was a good hit from Nwanga Tawase, though. That was a good hit right there from him. 4th tackle, but he needed to make it, otherwise it was going to be a try easy for Montalvo. It's gone backwards, that's fine. And Will Candy, he's at the 20. He's going to run it out to the right. They get it across. Here's a chance here on Katoa. He's at the 20. He's at the 15. He's at the 10. And now it's 5th tackle. They roll it back to Will Candy. Short ball. Hero! Oh, I don't agree of the strong run there. I think you need to make the run and flick it. There was always Roosters up close there on fit tackle. Look, it's a hero or zero play. It does come off as a zero. I think you need to make the decoy run there, run it in hard with a flick out the back or something like that. It's risky, but there was no real point to that because there was plenty of Roosters defenders there. With that being said, Roosters first tackle 5 metres out from their own line, so it'll keep them down here. Now you just got to focus on your defence. 10 minutes to go in the first half, guys. 10 minutes to go in the first half. Hit that like button, subscribe. That's a get out of jail free card penalty if I ever did see one. That is that was a get out of jail free for not clearing the ruck. Heady Heights of number 1 on the table. Nate says, I thought Hines was crying wolf, but fair enough. Well, they've still given away a penalty here, which is just absolutely ludicrous. And that will go to the 40. So the Roosters get out of trouble there. They get a good field position, the Sharks, and they just completely throw it all away. So the Roosters will get the ball to the 50 through Angus Crichton. Good strong run there. 10 minutes to go, like I said. Thumbs up, subscribe. First tackle for the Roosters. Savala, and that's a Sewell Wong to the 45. Teague Wilton rushes up in the line there. I wonder if they're going to bring on Britain Nakora. I think it would be worthwhile. Tedesco to Toya, and Toya gets past Will Candy. He'll be 20 metres out, even the line. Third tackle. Third tackle. Connor Watson across to Tedesco. Sam Walker back to Savala, and Savala is going to be at the 15 on 4 tackle. I just think you'd like to see a bit more attacking danger right now rather than just the... And Billy Burns has been great defensively, and Victor Radley will be 5 metres out, fit tackle. Just think you want to see it. But where they go left-hand side, pass inside, not the play, and the Roosters will just lose the ball at the 5. So that'll bring it back out into the 10 as well. Not losing the ball there was crucial because it would have meant the Sharks had the ball at the 5 rather than the 10. But they lose it. So it says, do you watch the NRLW? I do, but I don't have the ability to create content surrounding it because the games are on during the NRL. Very happy with the Titans win today, though. But I don't have the ability to stream the games or create content, really. Well, he's not clearing the ruck. Angus Crichton, you're going to get penalised. You're an idiot. You're an idiot, Angus Crichton. You're stupid. Yeah, Lindsay Collins is wrecking him. Lindsay Collins is ripping into him. Angus Crichton, that is 150% solely on you. That's not on Lindsay Collins. Because you've crowded the ruck there, Angus Crichton, Lindsay Collins actually can't get out of the way. You haven't been penalised, Crichton. You've made sure that Lindsay Collins has gotten penalised, though. You've thrown your teammate under the bus by that. That was a bonehead play. And now it's a penalty to the Sharks. They'll get this ball to the 45. Angus Crichton didn't get penalised there. Lindsay Collins got penalised, but Collins couldn't do anything because Angus Crichton crowded the ruck, which meant the Sharks weren't able to play the ball because Lindsay Collins was down there. But if Angus Crichton had just stood back and done a normal thing and been a normal bloke on the rugby league field, you would have seen Lindsay Collins being able to get away and the penalty wouldn't have happened. So the Sharks now will get this ball at the 45, second tackle, Oregon Kafusi. But it says, who needs to kick to your tall wingers when you can try a crash play? Oh, and underneath it, Oregon Kafusi. Great run from Talakai on the field. They're 30 minutes out of the line, 7.5 minutes to go. Blake Brayley. He's got Nico Hines, and Hines runs it in himself. Oh, jeez, nearly got through, but Connor Watson grabs him. Fifth tackle now at the 20. They go out to Blake Brayley, to Braden Trindle, Teague Wilton. Now it's fifth tackle, 10 metres out. What am I looking at, Daz? What on earth am I looking at? Blake Brayley kicks it through here. That's played at. Oh, it's going to be a dropout. Jeez, that was close, though. So a dropout from the Roosters to the Sharks coming up. Stormmate, in brackets, Daz. What am I looking at here? Says, look, I don't care. I'm not even going to explain. I just want a pub footy grand final today. That's one more than the Storm are winning this season. So suck 1Ps. Suns by 80. Well, they're losing by 7 right now. Go the Sunnies. But why is your name Stormmate, Daz? And Sean has just said you're a knob. Yep, look, valid, Sean. We knew that anyway, though. No, we knew Daz was a bit of a knob anyway. He's unfortunately our Muppet, but we knew that one anyway. So Sharks now will get this ball through Braden Hamlin-Welly to the 28, and it'll be second tackle. Blake Brayley. He's got Nico Hines. Blake Brayley underneath to Adam Fanor. Siensi Talakai, sorry. He'll be 18 metres away from the line, third tackle. Going through a midlife crisis. That does make sense for Daz. That definitely does make sense. Nico Hines short in the line. Teague Wilton close to a high tackle. Fourth tackle also close to a forward pass. Blake Brayley to Nico Hines. Underneath to Oregon Kafusi. He has been running the ball strongly, which is nice. Good offload. Fantastic offload. Unbelievable offload. And they will score? Oh, no, they've held him short. Wow, I didn't know. It was close. That was very close. Blake Brayley, he's going to go out to the left. Good rush-up defense. Good rush-up defense for Braden Trindle. He'll offload it. Mulitalo! Wow, that's good work from the Sharks, man. That's all good work from the Sharks from the middle of the field there. And what was brilliant about this is that Oregon Kaufusi offload. Now, I don't really rate Oregon Kaufusi as a front row forward. I really don't. I don't think he's had the work ethic of the Sharks when you see him on the field, which is why he got demoted from the starting props to the bench in favour of what they've done. But that was a great offload from him that nearly got them a try. But then they spread it left. Nwanga Tuase falls off the tackle. Trindle gets through a couple, gets the offload away to Mulitalo. And then I think it's Uelu who's bitten off too much on the wing. Mulitalo just cuts back in and scores. So it's 4-4 here with the kit to come. 4-4 with the kit to come. But it was a great play. I think and feel is what I was trying to say there. But I feel that all started because, one, Robert Toya needed to make that tackle. Missed the tackle. He's a big issue there. And then it was actually Victor Radley on the wing. He wouldn't have stopped Mulitalo in that situation, one-on-one. Mulitalo was always going to be able to kind of get a bit of movement around. But and also nice to make it an easy kick here for Nico to make it a 6-4 game. The Sharks might lead here at half-time. Sean says he will be enjoying himself big time. Yeah, no, he celebrated that one. Gary says, congrats, Daz. A win is a win. What's he won? What's he won? He's had to change his name to the team he lost to last night, and his team's currently losing in the semi-finals of the second week of the AFL to their biggest rivals, 41-34. What's he won, the old Daz? Mulitalo, good to see him get off the game a fortnight for 2 seconds to come play a bit of rugby league and score a try. You did win that, Daz. I do sincerely apologise without the sincerity of apology. Jazz, do not hit the like button. What the fuck, Jared? You'll see you in 5 minutes. Hey, everyone hit the damn well like button. You can head to the timeout for 5 minutes. Why you tell... What? Why on earth did you just tell everyone not to hit the like button, you dog? What underneath are you doing, Jared Ford? What? I want everyone in spite of you to hit the thumbs up button now. In spite of you. N-Shark Bro says, I did. Yeah, because you're a good bloke, N-Shark. Not this Jared Ford cat. What are you doing, Jared? No chases. Trindle's very underrated. He's always thereabouts when it comes to tries. Correct. 6-4 to the Sharks here. They get the kick. 4 minutes to go. Correct, but also Trindle can have his really off games too. I would say that Trindle is more consistent as a player than Nicho Hynes, but I think Nicho Hynes has the ability for more than what Trindle can do as a height. I think the height of Trindle is... the height of Hynes is here. The height of Trindle is here. The floor of Hynes is here. The floor of Trindle is probably here, but the pretty average, the normal Trindle's probably about here, and the normal Hynes is probably actually quite similar. But overall, I think Hynes has more ability, but Trindle is more of a safe floor. Close to a knock on there. Yeah, Kaufusi came off the bench and has topped the hit-up count with 8. He's had a very good game here. 40-20 attempt here for the Sharks. 40-20. 40-20. Oh, no. Nwanga Tuase gets back, and it's a great kick regardless. The Sharks are turning on the heat a little bit here. They are turning on the heat a little bit right now. Stormmate, remember for 5 months says, I'll hit you instead. Yeah, get into him. Yeah, hit Jared for sure. Bucks says, so whoever wins tomorrow, the premiership favourites? Well, no. Why the Storm just being written off? Third tackle now for the Roosters. They'll be at the 20. That's a good crowd at Shark Park. Since when do Sharks fans make noise at Shark Park? Robert Toy's away here. Robert Toy's away. He'll get this ball to the 50 and then take him down to the 45 on the Shark side of the field. Fourth tackle. Since when do we hear a Sharks chant at Shark Park? That's crazy scenes. Buy a lot of ticket. Tedesco taking down to the 33. And it's going to be fit tackle. Yeah, Tedesco is everywhere, man. He really has been everywhere. So Sam Walker now. He's going to whack that down to about the 5. And the ball bounces, but straight to Mulitalo. And he'll get this ball to the 10 on the first tackle. 2 minutes 20 to go. Sean says pimp slap. Oh, pimp slap for sure. Jared 5 minutes says no problem, Daz, because I was confused. I was like, what did I say? And I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. Yeah, we did now. You annoyed Daz. You don't want to annoy Daz. Daz is a ruthless rogue mod. He's a rogue mod, that bloke. He's ruthless. And you don't need to say too much to piss him off, considering his Bulldogs lost yesterday. So, fourth tackle now at the 25. Forward tackle. Now to Talakai. Talakai across to Braden Hamlin-Yaweli. And Hamlin-Yaweli will be at the 30 on fifth tackle. Minute 45 to go. Blake Brayley across to Nico Hines, and he will kick this ball in the corner. But it will be an easy take there for Daniel Tupou at the 25. A minute and a half to go here, the first half. 1.5 minutes to go. Tupou gets this ball back to the 45. Do you consider a 2-point field goal here? Does Sam Walker have the distance in him? Oh, no. Oh, no. The Sharks are away. The Sharks are away here. The Sharks are away here. The Sharks are going to score. Oh, no, they're not. Billy Burns. I just spat everywhere. What just happened to Roosters? What just happened? Oh, that's a sin bin for Sam Walker. That should have been a sin bin. He was clearly, that's a professional foul. The Sharks hit Nico Hines 5 metres out. That should have been a professional foul. What the hell did the Roosters just do? Cesar Vitalikai out to Braden Trindle. Trindle over the top of Molitalo. Roosters, what did I just watch? It's 10-4 with a kit to come. What did I just watch, Sydney? That is the biggest blown... What? Shooks are rattled. Bro, what just happened? Sam Walker loses the ball, kicks it up directly for Ramian. Ramian runs 40 metres. They spread the ball and score. The Sharks were not going to have another touch of the ball in the first half, lads. That's a brain explosion if I've ever seen one. That is horrific from the Roosters. That was horrific. I think if you're going to give the try of the season to Nwangana Tuwase, you've got to give that as the worst moment across the entirety of rugby league in 2025, or maybe the worst brain explosion that I've seen this year. That is absolutely absurd in a finals game. That is absolutely absurd. 10-4 with the kick to come, and it's about to be, you would assume it's about to be a 12-4 game. 2-score game. Trindle, great pass across to Molitalo, by the way, for a double. That was pretty funny. It was funny because Sam Walker drops it, kicks it up directly for Ramian to grab it, and then everyone was like, what's happening? And all the Roosters players were like, huh? How are he having the ball? What happened? What happened? Where? Who did what? Who is that? How did he get the ball? And then by the time they thought, they're like, I got to get back now, and then they just got done for numbers on the wing. Yeah, right on half-time, Jay. I always say the team who scores within the 5 minutes of the first half ending in a close game usually goes on to win the game. Hines. Oh, it's a beautiful kick. Oh, it's a beautiful kick there from Nico Hines. And it is 12-4 at half-time. I usually say the team that scores within 5 minutes of half-time goes on to win the game in a close game. Well, guess what? The Sharks just scored twice in the last 5 minutes of that first half. Walker was hanging off his arm like a handbag. Well, what happened? What? The Roosters, I'm thinking you're going to go for a 2-point field goal, and next minute the Sharkies score. There's a minute to go. There's a minute to go. Jay says he does not miss. Nico Hines does not miss. He's not as good as Tanner Boyd, but he does not miss. He's got that. So just 12-4 here. It looks like we're going to have to get into some of these team stats at half time. My goodness me. Well, that just absolutely turned the game on its head, didn't it? That was a whole completely different halftime chat at 4-0 with 5 minutes to go. Now it's 12-4 to the Sharks. So anyway, guys, let's get into the stats. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button. And damn well subscribe if you're new around to you. And Jared Ford, if you don't hit that damn well thumbs up button, I'm timing you out for 20 minutes next time. I'm timing you out for about 20 minutes, son. But all right, let's get into the stats. Ronaldo Molitalo with 2 tries, 34th and the 39th minute, and Mark Nwangana Tuwase in the 23rd minute. Obviously, Sam Walker has missed his only conversion attempt. Now, in regards to possession, I'm not surprised. I would have expected it to be bang on the dot, 50%. The Sharks are at 49%. The Roosters are at 51%. So pretty much exactly the same. The Sharks are at 12 minutes, 50 time possession. The Roosters are at 14 minutes and 25 seconds time possession. So what? That's 26. That's basically just over 27 minutes of time possession. It's okay. We are seeing quite a few penalties in this game. We've seen 5 penalties so far. 13 errors. That's a lot of errors. We are seeing a lot of mistakes and whatnot, so it makes sense in regards to the time possession. It's nothing too spectacular, but it's decent enough. Now, completion rate, you want to be seeing at least 80%. If you ever think of a Roosters game, they're going to hit over 80%. You're watching the wrong game because the Roosters don't usually do it. Completion rate, 77% for the Sharks at 14 from 18. It's not hitting the marker, but it's not awful. And the Roosters, they've actually just jumped up with a complete... Well, that makes no sense because they just made a mistake. So how have they jumped up from 72% to 77%? But anyway, 77% for the Roosters as well with 17 from 22 completions. So both at 77%. The Sharks have had 4 less sets than the Roosters. They've had 1 less incomplete set than the Roosters. So it's very, very similar there with the Sharks and the Roosters not hitting the 80%. But they're not awful. Now, in regards to the runs, 91 runs for both these teams, which is really, really interesting considering that the Roosters have had the ball for 1:30 more than the Sharks have. But 91 runs apiece, so we can take the run meters purely on what we see. 660 run meters for the Sharks, 687 run meters there for the Roosters. I don't know if that's updated based off of what we've just seen on that last play from Jesse Ramian plus also Mulatalo. I think that will update and the Sharks will be in the lead. But before those plays, the Roosters were up by 27 run meters. So the Roosters are doing a bit better with the ball. Nothing dramatic, but enough to get you talking that they are leading by 27 run meters for the time being. Post-contact meters is Roosters 263, Sharks 206. So with the exact same amount of runs, the Roosters have got 57 more run post-contact meters. 57 more post-contact meters with the exact same amount of runs. That's disgraceful, Sharks. That's disgraceful. They're not getting any post-contact. The Roosters are killing them in the post-contact. The Sharks, their post-contact is abysmal. That's abysmal stuff. So the run meters for the Sharks is probably an advantage if they haven't updated the stats yet based on that last run from Jesse Ramian and then Mulatalo. But the Sharks are down the run meters by 27 on it right this very second. And then are well down in regards to the post-contact. The Roosters are well and truly winning that muscle in the middle, but they've just thrown away those last 2 tries. Line breaks is 3-2 to the Roosters, so very similar. Decent amount of line breaks in this game. The tackle breaks is 21 for the Roosters and 8 for the Sharks. Okay, the Sharks are about to get a bit of a roasting when it comes to defense. 21 missed tackles is some pretty poor stuff, but 8 tackle breaks the Sharks means the Roosters are defending in this game absolutely phenomenally. 8 missed tackles to the Roosters is brilliant, whilst the Sharks have missed 21 tackles. Yikes. All right, so the average set distance, 25 and under, you turn the stream off, it's pathetic. 25 to 30, it's disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is basically perfect. Both teams here are underwhelming. The Sharks are at 34.78, which is at least the extremely high end of underwhelming, but it's still not hitting the marker of 35. You need to be hitting at least the 35. You need to at least hit 35 meters. They're at 34.78 on an average set distance. So it's underwhelming, but it's getting close to the marker. You want to be seeing a lot more out of them. But if we're criticising the Sharks there, well, the Roosters are at 31.25. So they're on the low end of underwhelming. They're getting close to the disgusting category. That's not good enough. It means the defense in this game is really restricting, but overall, the Roosters are very clearly not getting as many, which is quite funny, actually. I think it really does come down to that break just then from the Sharks. That's taken away because it's funny that the post-contact meters and the run meters just having the same amount of runs, and yet the Roosters are down the average set distance. It's quite interesting, but obviously it does make sense because the Sharks have been doing some pretty good things with the ball at times, just not doing as much as they need to be doing, and that's why they're at 34.78. Then you got the average play the ball speed. Sharks are at 3.63 seconds. The Roosters are at 3.48 seconds. These stats are looking very similar. In a couple of these stats to the Warriors and Panthers game. But 3.63 seconds is in the slow category of 3.6 to 3.79, and the 3.48 seconds for the Roosters is in the average category of 3.4 to 3.59. So the Roosters at an average rate, the Sharks at a slow rate. They're off by about 25.25 seconds is what they're off by. And then you go to the offloads, it's 4-4. The forced dropouts is 1-0 Sharks. Kick defusal is 0% for the Sharks, 100% here for the Roosters. And then you go to the effective tackle percentage. Now, it's not as bad for the Sharks as you would have thought. 85% and below is disgusting. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is hitting the marker. And then 90% and above is brilliant, basically perfect. The Sharks are at 87.14%. So that's underneath the 88%, but it's not too far underneath. They've got 183 tackles made for 21 missed tackles and 6 ineffective. Now, the missed tackles on an average is 15 to 17. They're at 21, so 4 extra missed tackles. And this goes to show for the Bulldogs fans last night when you said that 26 missed tackles wasn't exactly awful. Well, it is. 21 is awful. And that's 5 less than what the Dogs had at halftime last night, but that's 4 more than the highest of the averages there for the Sharks. Whilst the ineffective tackles have average of 5 to 6, they're bang smack on the average there at 6 on the higher end. So 21 and 6, that's 27 bad tackles in the first half. They had 183 tackles made, which is solid. So they're doing okay, but they're definitely underwhelming still. Whilst the Roosters are doing it at a brilliant rate. 90.5% is great stuff. 162 tackles made for an extremely good 8 missed tackles, but a very poor ineffective tackles of 9. That's really bad. So the 8 ineffective tackles is 7. That's a massive number. 7 underneath the average of 15 and 17. That's really good stuff. But the 9 ineffective tackles is 2 above the highest of the average of 6-7 for the ineffective tackles. So that is a really good stat there with 27 bad tackles for the Sharks to 16 bad tackles for the Roosters. It's a clear difference defensively. And that's why it's quite funny that the Sharks are leading 12-4 in this game, because for the most part of how this game has gone, the Roosters were up 4-0 until the last 5 minutes, where the Sharks just went bang with the Mulatalo try, and then they made a mistake, the Roosters, with Sam Walker. They were still down 6-4, mind you, but made a mistake, and the Sharks punished them for that mistake, which could be, if this game continues the way it goes, the end of the Roosters season, and you would look at that mistake and say, well, right on half-time, you've just given the Sharks a massive boost. Then you go to the errors, and this is pathetic from both these teams. So 4 and under is great, 5 to 6 is average, and then 7 and above is really bad. The Roosters are at 6, which is the higher of the averages. It's not a good amount of errors, but it's a very typical amount of errors for the Roosters, if not under what they're usually at. The Sharks are at 7. That's really bad. That's poor stuff from Cronulla. You want to be seeing much better there. That is a big reason as to why they're not actually potentially winning this game by more, despite the Roosters' defense. The Sharks would have a lot more of the ball if they could limit those errors. And it was good to see they made a good challenge before, but ultimately those errors need to be limited, otherwise they'll still find a way to lose this game. However, the Roosters, like I said, make a lot of errors, so I wouldn't be surprised in the second half. I will remind people, though, the Roosters were down 10-0 to the Melbourne Storm about 2 weeks ago, and they came home like an absolute train and won 40-10. So keep that in mind. And the first half of the Rabbitohs game last week, well, they weren't that great as well, and they came home like a train to beat the Rabbitohs. Who cares about the Rabbitohs? And the Storm had 8 players out in that game. And I did say last week that I'm tipping whoever they play in the first half, and then it just comes down to if they can chase that team down who's a good team in the second half. And now we're going to see it. It's only 8 points. Maybe that's not enough for the Sharks, but the Sharks are a much better team than an understrength Storm team with 8 players out, and also a Rabbitohs team that finished in the bottom 4 this year. So here is your test here, Roosters. And obviously it's your test because this is an elimination final. This is your season right down well now. You must win this game, otherwise you're gone. So you must win this. And right now the errors are very similar. The penalties are 3-2, very similar. Ruck infringements, 3-2 Sharks way. Ruck infringements is 2-0 against the Sharks. Then the inside 10 metres is 1-0 against the Roosters, which I don't believe. I feel like I've seen the Sharks get done over for a couple of inside the 10 metres. So, look, overall, I don't know. The Roosters defence is better by a decent stretch. Errors and penalties are very similar. Forced dropouts is good for the Sharks with 1-0. The play the ball speed, I would lean in favour of the Roosters because you'd prefer a bit of a faster play the ball speed today. Average set distances is 3 metres in advantage, 3.5 metres in advantage to the Sharks with the line break similar. Post contact meters, the Sharks getting whooped. The run meters, the Roosters are doing the better, and then the completion rate is just an advantage to the Sharks with 78%. Compared to 77%. So, look, this game is still in the balance, but the Roosters would be severely disappointed being down by 2 scores, considering that they probably were the better team in that first half. They probably were the better team overall. It's just that last 5 minutes, the Sharks are going to really rocket into your mind as if like they were clearly the better team. When I think overall it was a very even but slightly more beneficial first half for the Roosters until that last 5. So I'm still going to tip the Sharks here, though. I did say there's a world the Sharks will win this game 13+. I did tip them 1-12 because the Roosters should still be up for it, and they do have good second halves. But the Sharks are a much different beast to what they've played recently. Again, Storm had 8 players out, and also the Rabbitohs were the Rabbitohs. So I don't look at those 2 games and think, okay, well, that's clear, because they still lost the game 30-10 of the Eels. Wesley says, Roosters heads up. We are going to come in the second stanza to crack the Sharks. Roosters for 1-12. Go, go, go. Well, you're going to need a lot to go your way, but it is only an 8-point game right now. Same says 2025 premiers will be Gold Coast Titans, mate. Esther says, all the way from Papua New Guinea. Get on the Sharks. No, you're not even telling us who you're going for. You're just telling us Sharks and Roosters, Esther. That's all you said. That's all you said. Jared says, at this time of the season, you need to be supplying excellent ball to your centres. Well, that needs to be at every part of the season. Needs to be every part. Class of Sharks love the Chooks. Wouldn't necessarily say that. They've split the games 1-1 this year. Obviously, the Sharks won 31-18 about 7 weeks ago, whilst the Roosters beat them by a good old 40 points a good 2-3 months ago. So the Roosters actually knocked the Sharks out here 2 years ago in 2023. The Roosters knocked them out here in a close game. So this is a rematch of that one at the same stadium 2 years later. And right now the Sharks have got to holding them out. They are holding them out right now. I'm actually going to get myself another Coke Zero, guys. Give me 1 second here. At halftime, thumbs up, subscribe. Get into the chat. Let us know your thoughts for the second half. I'm going to run over to the fridge, get a Coke Zero, and I'll be back any moment now. All right, we're back. Gary says, wash those hands, please. Man, I was getting a Coke Zero. What are you talking about? I literally just said I was getting a Coke Zero. Why do I need to wash my hands for a Coke Zero? I just need a drink for... Well, we streamed for... How long we streamed for today? Roughly 2 hours there, plus the extra hour for the pre-games. That's 3 hours. By the end of it, we would have been doing 6 straight... Well, to be fair, this is kind of like typical... This is kind of like a typical day, actually. It's actually less than a normal Saturday. Yeah, it's less because we'd have 3 games. We'd only go live 15 minutes beforehand, though. So 2, 4, 6, 6:40, probably about 7 hours on a regular Saturday for a regular season week compared to today, which will be about, 6 hours or so. Joe from says, I've got a Coke Zero as well. There's a Star Wars promo going on, so I have Darth Vader on my Coke. Thanks for letting us know. But all right, the second half is about to start here. The Sharks get out in the field, and the Roosters are out there too. We will see the Roosters kick off to the Sharks in the second half. Give me some score predictions in the chat. Some score predictions for how this one will finish up. 40 minutes left of one of these two teams' season, unless we got extra time. Less than a normal Saturday, but better. Oh, of course. Of course. Looking forward to tomorrow, though. Rays versus Broncos will be big. It'll be big. We haven't seen an upset so far this round. Right now, this would be the only upset, which shouldn't have been an upset in the first place. It was great value. For people who got on the show, there's no value in betting on the favourite Roosters when I feel like the odds were incorrect. I think that the odds were incorrect and the Sharks were at $2.40 or $2.25. And this is based off what you guys tell me and what people have told me because I can't see it in Vietnam. But I don't understand how the Sharks were significant enough underdogs. And that is great value for the home team, the team who finished higher on the table, the team who beat the Roosters in the last time they played each other by 13 plus, mind you. I don't understand the odds. I really don't. The Sharks were 7-1 coming into this final series from their last 8 games. The Roosters lost a game to the Eels 30-10 3 weeks ago. You know, how on earth can you tell me, besides the hype for the Roosters, which is coming from the wanting to us as a player on attack and scoring brilliant, beautiful tries, how can you tell me the Roosters should have been favourites for this game? If the Roosters were underdogs, then there's the value. There's the value. But how can someone with all that context just applied, how can you tell me the Roosters should have been favourites for the game? Monkey White says 20-10 Sharks was my original prediction. I think that's how it ends. Yeah, I don't mind it. I can still see the Roosters coming away, though. Like, the Roosters are a team that, again, a good second half team. Billy Smith are at the 35 on fit tackle, but it's just a different team to the last 2 they've played. They need to get off to a good start, though. Sam Walker, that's why that try for the Sharks was very crucial, considering. Good attempt there from Tedesco, but Kennedy will get the ball at 10. You should be roasted for saying 1 more minute. If you were going for 1 more minute, you were about to be roasted. Yeah, no, it wasn't. So second tackle now for the Sharks at the 5, and they're going to get this ball to Seneca Talbot at the 10. Will Tarrant Point Hotel happy? Okay. Wait, what's happening here? Oh, they're talking about the message from Craig Fitzgibbon. Wow, this is not a great set here from the Sharks. They're at the 15 on 4 tackle. And now on 5th tackle, it's going to be at the 18. They only made like 10 metres across 5 tackles there. That's really bad stuff. But Trindle, he will get that ball to the 45. And Nwana Tawase will be at the 50. So that is great work there from the Roosters to keep the Sharks down there. And now the Roosters have got them pinned in their own half. And now second tackle, Robert Toya. He'll be at the 35, second tackle. And Nate says, I can die a happy man now. Thanks, Jared. Well, Nate, you did see the Warriors take a 2-point penalty today and they lost. So that's a Dragons feeling for you. So even when the Dragons aren't playing the finals, they are playing the finals. Because that's the Dragons' mindset. That's the Dragons' way of life. It's not a religion. It's a way of life for the Dragons to take the 2. Not to go for the try, take the 2 and lose. Warriors a little bit better and didn't lose by 50. But they did still lose by 16. So, third tackle in for the Roosters is the 15. And now they'll go to the right-hand side off to Sam Walker, Savala, Tedesco, Nwana Tawase will be 5 metres out from the line for tackle. Robert Toya back to Savala. Sharks' intensity on defense has been pretty solid today for the most part. Out to Crichton. Crichton gives it across to Billy Smith, who throws the ball over the sideline. And Grassy McGrath is back, baby. Grassy McGrath is back. Grassy McGrath is back. Billy Smith throws the ball over the sideline. Does not realise the touchy is not a part of their team. He's wearing black and orange for a reason, not red, white, and blue. Billy Smith, you can't pass the touchy. Monkey Muay Thai says, crazy pass by Smith. Oh, very crazy pass by Smith. But the Sharks get this ball to the 15. 7 errors for the Roosters, 5 errors for the Sharks. Okay, I've got to be honest. Today, we have seen NRL.com and the NRL broadcast on Fox be so different. In regards to stats they provide, like so different. Like it's just said the Sharks have had 5 errors and the Roosters have had 7. Well, at half time it was 7-6 Sharks on the error count on the NRL.com app. So who's wrong and who's right? So 5th tackle now for the Sharks and they're at the 35. Nico Hines, I think that was, goes straight to Tedesco. Get the ball back to Trindle to kick because that was not good. And now Tedesco will beat the 45. They keep starting the set, though, basically at the 50. So the Roosters have got all the field position to start this second half, but they need to capitalise. And again, the Sharks are a much better defensive team than they've played recently. Second tackle now at the 38. New is a Tigers fan. We're all Tigers fans. No, Mitch, we're not all Tigers fans, but you do change a couple of those letters and you'll get Titans. And then you'll find the answer. Yeah, that's the way of life, mate. Come on. You know better than this, Mitchell. Well, you know what? I'll give you this option. You either support the Titans or you support the winner of the most recent Titans-Tigers game. Which option do you choose, Mitchell? Which option do you choose? You've got to choose an option. To support the Titans or to support the winner of the last Tigers-Titans game. Roosters over to tackle Tupou, but Sione Katoa, a much smaller man, is able to beat out Tupou. That's great stuff. A much smaller Sione Katoa is able to beat out Daniel Tupou. That is great work. That is great work. 23 wide, so I need 2 more tries from Marky Mark on the Roosters. It's a big call, though, against the Sharks defense. That it's a much better team than the 8 injured and suspended and rested Storm and the South Sydney Rabbitohs. The Sharks' attack has been pitiful in this second half. It's 5th tackle at the 20. They are continuously giving the Roosters the ball at the 50. Nico Hines again with a kick, and that will go to the 40. The Roosters are going to be on first tackle at the 48 on the Sharks on the field. The Sharks are just simply not getting this ball. We're not getting into politics here, John. Obviously, I'm not going to get into it because otherwise we really go crazy. But obviously, I will always support freedom of speech and opinion. So second tackle now at the 25, and it's going to be James Tedesco who gets his ball hit at the 15. Third tackle. So you can read between the lines there. Third tackle here at the 15. Connor Watson gives it off, and if people disagree with that, I don't give a fuck. So, 4th tackle now for the Roosters, and they're at the 7. Out the back now to Sam Walker. Kicks it through for Crichton. Well, that would have been a penalty try. Otherwise, it's a try, though. And look, it's going to happen. The Sharks were just pathetic in this opening 7 minutes here. Absolutely pathetic in this opening 7 minutes. Like, that was just diabolical, this first 7 minutes from the Sharks. And Angus Crichton will score. And if he doesn't score, Kennedy probably gets binned and a penalty try. All right, so... yeah, it would have been a penalty try, and also it would have been a penalty try for Crichton if he doesn't get that, because he clearly was taken from Kennedy there. Sean said it's called sweet and F4, mate. Fair enough. But that was a nice kick there from Sam Walker. Where Will Kennedy was way too high up in the line there. Try confirmed. 4-point game with the kick comes Sam Walker. Yeah, they had 20 metres on all 3 of their consecutive sets. Let's have that time on the ready. The old timer. But Angus Crichton, season 5, 3 finals, and 50 in his career. That's tries scored. Will Kennedy way behind the play and way out of position there. Way out of play and out of position. All right. 31 minutes to go of this elimination final. Yeah, Hawaii, I think you're speaking out of gambling right now. I don't think you're speaking out of what you actually believe will happen in this game. At the end of the day, you're entitled to, bet on your players, but let's also be realistic and say that if Nwanga Tuasa gets a hat-trick, that shouldn't be happening. So I don't believe that will happen, because Nwanga Tuasa is going up against the top 5 defense, whilst the Storm had 8 players out, bro, and the Rabbitohs are a bottom 4 Rabbitohs team. It's a very different beast that we're having here. We're in the finals, man. You're speaking out of a gambling mindset. You're not speaking out of what you actually genuinely believe will happen in this game. Vomp says, you're telling me the team who has the most points at the end of the game wins it? Yeah, Vomp. Yeah, no, crazy, eh? Yeah, I know, it's surprising. No, it's surprising stuff. That's why you come here, mate, for me to tell you that. And I'll tell you what, and this might surprise you as well. So the team, and I don't think many people know this, the team who doesn't score as many points actually loses the game. And that team actually is eliminated today. Crazy stuff. It's crazy, scary stuff here at the Shire, mate. So first tackle for the Roosters. Probably the scariest thing since the beginning of the 2000s. So the Roosters, Nwanga Tuasa, will get this ball to the 20 on the second tackle. 30 minutes to go here at the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. And you know what, Von P? I'm also going to tell you, I've got a sneaky little suspicion, but if you watch that Panthers Bulldogs game next week, I don't mind a little up-and-coming player. You should keep an eye on him. His name's Nathan Cleary. Pretty good player, I reckon, is coming through the system. Angus Crichton's away here. Gives it across into Tedesco and knocks the ball on. Oh, he lost the ball on a breakaway. He lost the ball on a breakaway. Who do I think wins the Pacific Championship? New Zealand. Jared Money says, mind blown. What a serious channel. Well, it is a serious channel, mate. We've got the live ladder over here. Very serious. We've got the live score down here. Very serious. And we've got James Tedesco knocking the ball on. That's extremely serious. Never been more serious in my life. How much would it cost for you to eat octopus on live stream? Yeah, I don't want to do that, but I don't want to do that. And don't give Olivia any ideas. Don't give anyone any ideas here. What are you trying to make me eat octopus on the stream? Like, Vietnam is a pretty big country. You can get good octopus here, but I don't want it. And don't give anyone ideas, mate. You're a sick man. Second tackle at the 40. You're going to get some weirdos here who say that octopus is a great taste. I guarantee it. First bloke off the ranks will be like a Daz mate or a Seb Watson coming out and saying they eat octopus on the daily. Seb's English, so it makes sense. He's a weirdo. Fourth tackle now, Teague Wilton at the 25. They roll it back, Blake Brayley off to Braden Trindle off to Braden Hamilton-Uele. And Hamilton-Uele is going to be 20 metres out of the line, fit tackle. The first time the Sharks have at least gotten into an attacking area for all this second half so far. Trindle, short ball, into the line. Teague Wilton gets the offload away. Blake Brayley, knock it on. And it will be Connor Watson who breaks out here. He gets his ball to the 25. He gets his ball to the 30, to the 40. Good run, Connor Watson, 0 tackle. Sean says, Olivia says, as long as you don't cook it using the work toasted sandwich maker, I'm all good. How about I just don't have it in general? First tackle with the Roosters at the 40. The Sharks have been absolutely abhorrent in the second half. Like, the Roosters have turned it up a gear, but The Sharks in this second half have just been hilariously bad. Hilariously bad. Sam Walker gets it across here to Siwa Wong, and it'll be third tackle at 20. We had a staff member cook her prawns for lunch on the communal toasted sandwich maker. Yeah, well, she's a weirdo. And Egan Butcher, sorry. It'll be 4 tackle at the 5. 4 tackle, 5 metres away from the Roosters. Can they take back the lead? They give it Sam Walker. He steps, he kicks. Not the play, Sam. Not the play. And Jesse Calhoun will get this ball to the 8. Not the play. I've never been more serious in my life. I don't think I've ever been more serious in my life, Jared, than when I'm talking right now about the serious things in my life. I think this might be the most serious moment of my life. Third tackle for the Sharks, and they're at the 13. This is pathetic, Sharks. You are going to go under 25 metres a set. You had an average set distance of 34 in the first half. What are they on now? They're under 30. Crazy stuff from Cronulla. Crazy. Fifth tackle for the Sharks at 38. And Trindle, he'll put a high ball up from the 40. At least it's kicked to the 20. At least you're not having the Roosters attack you from the 50 every single set. Wesley says Roosters 1 of 12. Well, maybe. We've got a long way to go in this game. It's only a 2-point game. Roosters at the 40 on second tackle. They go to the left-hand side. At least we're kind of doing better on defense. What, the Roosters? The Roosters were the better defensive team in the first half. They had a 90.3% on effective tackle percentage compared to the Sharks at 87.3. 4 tackle now for the Roosters at the 50. Connor Watson, he'll go to the right-hand side of Sam Walker. Sam Walker gives it at the back into Tedesco. Tedesco here to Nwanatawase. And Nwanatawase will be 28 metres out. Fifth tackle. Takes him out of the fifth tackle play kick too. Well, not necessarily. Yeah, it does. Yeah, because he'll be offside otherwise. So they bombed it kind of that side, but Nwanatawase was offside. Great take by Will Kennedy at the 10. Great take. Who wants it more here, lads? 2-point game of your 26 minutes to go of your season. And as we found out from Von P before, if you have more points at the end of the game, you do actually win. If you have less points, you found this out from me, you do actually lose. Sharks, third tackle at the 10-metre line. You are playing abhorrently. If you win this game, it's honestly nearly a miracle at this point. Like, it's honestly nearly a miracle. It's 4 tackle at the 20. Does anyone want to have a crack in attack? Does anyone want to have any kind of a crack in regards to running this ball up hard? I get the Roosters are turning it up a notch, but for the love of God, you're a top 5 team. How on earth are you struggling to get outside of your own 20? Again, the Roosters, they will get this ball to the halfway point on first tackle. Like, Sharks, come on. You are a top 5 team, and you cannot even get out of your own 20. Anyone thought of the Sharks offense this half? Yep. Yeah, no, I haven't been talking about it the entire time. Third tackle now for the Roosters. They're going to be at the 40. They're going to be at the 40. Yeah, we do like to talk about rugby league here sometimes. Why? Yeah, no, we like to talk from time to time about what's actually happening in the game, and it's a knock-on from the Roosters. Will Kennedy will bring his ball out to the 30. And can you muck it away? Taking out to the 37. First tackle. A 0 tackle, sorry. Sharks go quickly to Tetsuramian. It's like the Roosters have to make a mistake. Well, that's past the horizontal if you call the Dylan Edwards one on past the horizontal today, but they didn't call it. So Sharks at the 45. How can you call it Dylan Edwards past horizontal, but not that one for Jesse Ramian? I've tried crocodile. It's not bad, BK. Yeah, well, enjoy. I'm glad you enjoyed, mate. Third tackle here at the 40. It's like the Sharks are relying on the Roosters to make a mistake before they can make more than 20 metres in a set. You were talking this whole time, could have fooled me. Yeah, no, I'm trying to fool you. Big fooler, mate. Bit of tomfoolery going on here. Fourth tackle here at the 33. And good run here from Brayley to the 24. Good run from Blake Brayley. He's complaining about something. I don't know what he's complaining about, though. Nico Hines gets across here to Braden Trindle. He'll put that ball into the air. Molatalo, Nwanatawase. Nwanatawase, good grab, though. Really good, strong grab from Nwanatawase at the 10. And it's going to be first tackle. 2-point game. Gee whiz, this is going to be a battle. That is a battle between Nwanatawase and Molatalo, but... Oh, you could argue that he actually knocked that ball on, but it was just very well hidden from the fact that, like, he's kind of got it there in the breadbasket, but Molatalo's, like, chest kind of makes it sure that it doesn't knock it on. So, fourth tackle now. Fourth tackle for the Roosters at the 25. Nafahu White to the 32 on fifth tackle. 24 minutes left. Connor Watson to Hugo Savala. And Will Candy gets his ball here at the 30 to the 35 to the 40. Okay, finally, a bit of better field position for the Sharks. Now, can I see you make more than 20 metres in this set? It'd be a miracle. It'd be an absolute miracle. And they've lost 5 metres, so that might be a high tackle. No, it's a great hit from Billy Smith. He was going to try and milk it. Third tackle, and the Sharks at the 45. For the love of God, Cronulla, they've had 2 tackles and lost 7 metres. Nico Hines, Will Candy, quick passes. Sione Katoa, he steps inside. They finally make a good play. 4th tackle at 35. Living in an Asian country, you always ask the day after, what did we eat last night? Yeah, that's a great point. Adam Fanor-Blake, he'll get this ball to the 30. He gets away. Oh, taking that to 25. Good run, though. 5th tackle, Blake Brayley. Thought about going right, but he goes to the left. Nico Hines, Braden Trindle. They've got numbers here. Kale Iro, Montano. Oh, he's over the sideline. Good defense from the one to Tuase. Good defense. That's good defense from the one to Tuase, and the Roosters will get the ball at 10. This is a game right now, lads. This is a game. That's a great battle out there between the one to Tuase and Ronaldo Mulatalo. That is a great battle out there. Oh, damn it. The Sunnies are getting done over by 30 points right now. Ah, Sunnies. Come on. That Geelong Hawthorn game next week is crazy, but... Alright, so... The Roosters. Imagine Geelong going from their biggest rivals in Hawthorn to one of their biggest rivals in Collingwood. That'd be just an insane 2 weeks. Second tackle here for the Roosters. They're at the 15. 22 minutes to go here of the game. Come on, Sharks D up. Well, they have been in the last 5 minutes comparatively. Like, the Roosters were absolutely whooping the Roosters. So the Roosters were whooping the Sharks for the first 10 minutes of the second half. And now it's not completely switched, but the Sharks have well and truly gotten back into the game defensively. Like, the Roosters on 4 tackle are kicking it from their own 25. Savala kicks it down to the 25, but Will Candy is going to bring it out to the 40. And again, they're going to have they're going to get it to left-hand side of Mulatalo, and he'll get this ball to the 40. First tackle. Now, this is a very intriguing tactical game right now, where the Sharks are not getting any metres. It's now second tackle at the 42. They gained 3 metres from that. They're not making any metres unless it's a breakaway. Like, unless they really get a bit of magic going. Sione Katoa, and he's still at the 40. And he's still at the 40, and now he's at the 45 on third tackle. I'm really glad, though, that there's not been many penalties in the second half. Has there been a penalty in the second half so far? I don't think so. Good run there from Toby Rudolph to the 45. You need to see that. 4th tackle. 4th tackle. Blake Brayley. Out to Braden Trindle. Trindle gets it to Kale Iro. And they'll be at the 30. So you would assume they're going to try and get this ball across the right-hand side now. Blake Brayley to Braden Trindle. No, they're going to go back to Mulatalo and the one to Tuase's side. The chase through here is nice. Tedesco grabs it, though, and he'll be the 18. This is a tactical battle, man. 20 minutes to go of this elimination final, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. 20 minutes to go. Don't forget, we'll be live with the Broncos versus the Raiders tomorrow at Canberra Stadium for a double chancer, and whoever wins this game will play the loser of tomorrow's game. Third tackle for the Roosters at the 30. Whistle in the pocket, that's a good thing. It's a very good thing, yeah. No, it's been a free-flowing game for the most part in the second half, and Roosters will be at the 40. Sharks fans are complaining about a forward pass. I don't agree. And now Spencer Leniu, he'll get this ball to the halfway point. Yeah, good call, Jared. I don't know what Jared's doing today. And now it's going to be Sharks here at the ball at the 15. It's very distracting if you take the piss. It's very distracting. So first tackle now for the Sharks at the 20. This is a very balanced game. Mulatalo, nearly gets away from Robert Toya, but Toya does get his ankle just before he breaks. Trindle quickly, Hines back to Trindle, to Mulatalo, and Spencer Leniu coming in for a big hit there. Oh, look at him mouthing off. I love that. Both of them mouthing off at each other. You love to see it. Teague Wilton will get this ball to the 30. Get this ball to the 30. Yeah, I don't know what old mate's doing today. Adam Fanor-Blake to Nico Hines. He'll run it through himself and take it out the 40 on 5th tackle. Blake Brayley to Braden Trindle. And Trindle is going to put up a spiral bomb into the one to Tuase. Oh, he catches it at the 20 and brings it out to the 35. Geez, that was a good kick, though, from Trindle. 19 minutes left here. What happens here? What happens in this game? Who makes the first mistake right now? Second tackle for the Roosters. Yeah, look, it does feel like it deserves to be 12-all. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's just because... Oh, there's the mistake. There's the mistake from the Roosters. You're waiting for it. And Daniel Tupou is the one that knocked the ball on. So the Sharks will get an attacking opportunity here, 35 metres out. We were waiting for a mistake from someone, and it will come from the Roosters. And I'm not surprised, considering they're the second most error-ridden team across the competition this year, statistically. But Tupou does knock the ball on. The pass was fine from Sam Walker. It's just that Tupou slips over. Mitchell says the good old BKR jinx. No, the good old I called it. The good old I called it. What do you mean jinx? Oh, we were waiting for someone to break up. We were waiting for someone to make an error. We were waiting for it. You can tell. And when you watch enough sport, you know when something's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen, but you know when something's going to happen. All right, so Sharks now. They'll get this ball here to the 25. 6 again, first tackle. Sharks are tired as all buggery and still holding on, bless them. Now, they're doing a good job. You know, they were getting absolutely punched in the absolute sphincter for the first 10 minutes of the second half, but, you know, they've just been able to still hold on and not let it blow out, which is what the Roosters did to the Storm and the Rabbitohs. And now it will be about, can the Roosters bounce back from not getting it all their way, despite the fact that that's kind of how games have gone recently. Whilst the Sharks are 4 tackle, 10 metres out. Blake Brayley, it's Billy Burns. Britton Okoro might not get on the field here today. He may not get on the field here today. All right, out of the back here to Trindle, here we go. Kennedy! Oh, pass the ball, Kennedy. Oh, we wanted to see the Mulitalo when I wanted to watch that battle there. It would have been one-on-one, but Kennedy Look, I don't mind the play because it's now first tackle. Well, it's going to be their first tackle coming from the 4 metres. So it forces them to go 96 metres. I don't mind that selection there from Kennedy. But with that being said, there was Mulitalo and Nonatuwase out there for a bit of a battle, which we've been loving all game. Second tackle here. Oh, he's lost the ball! He's lost the ball! Yeah, knock on from the Roosters. Yeah, knock on. Knock on. And there you go. The errors are filling up here for the Roosters. They were well and truly on top of this game. They didn't get it all their way. And the Sharks, if they can score here, this is going to be a dramatic turnaround for the Roosters in 16 minutes to save their season. Toya lost that ball on the ground. Oh, Nikoro's on the field now, is he, Mitchell? Where? Has he come on for Billy Burns? Has he come on for Jesse Colquhoun, maybe? Maybe they chuck Nakora into a 13 role. Maybe that's what they do. I wouldn't be surprised they do that if they take Jesse Colquhoun off and they maybe... Yeah, they maybe chuck Nakora into the 13. No, Nakora is in the back row alongside Teague Wilton, so Billy Burns must have been shaken up. No, Billy Burns is in the front row right now. Oh, left-hand side, Molitano! Oh, no, it's Kailero, sorry. Oh, forward pass. That's stupid, Sharks. That's quite literally the worst thing you could have possibly done. That is quite literally the worst thing you could have done. So it's going to be Roosters' ball here at the 10. That is really quite literally the worst thing. Oh. He lost the ball anyway, to be fair. He lost the ball, and it was a double movement regardless, to be fair. But I would debate the forward pass, but either way, he knocks the ball on. Oh, no, it is a forward pass. No, it's a correct call. No, it's a correct call. It says he's been on for the last 10 minutes, you muppet. Listen here, Mitchell. You know, I was just testing you. I was trying to be a gracious host here, mate. You know, welcome. Well, I was trying to test to see if you knew that Nakora was on the field, mate. Well done, you picked it. Well done, Mitchell. Well done, good sir. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted by looking at pretty much everything else that's going on that I can't notice every single player who's on the field. Has Nakora made a run yet? How many runs he made? Not many. So I must be seeing that Billy Burns has shifted into the front row. So that means that Adam Fanua-Blake is on, but maybe it means that Toby Rudolph is off. Oh, they're nearly through here. Sam Walker, fit tackle at the 45 of the Sharks off the field. Calling you bluff, Mr. Host. Well, you're a liar. And guess what? I have the microphone. So how about that? How about that one? And the ball will bounce awkwardly here for the Sharks. The Roosters get it through Nonatuwase. He's at the 30. He's going to kick this ball over the top. The Sharks pick it out of the end. Nico Hines might be away, taking it at 33. Oh, gee whiz. Nonatuwase made a bit of a mistake there by kicking that ball. Well, he should have just kicked the ball into the corner to really force the Sharks out of their own end, but the Roosters have been suffocating them in all this second half so far. Nate Jason eat shit, Robbo. I knew someone was going to make a comment about Robbo when he came on the screen. Oh, good run from... He's been great today, Sione Katoa, and so is Molitalo. Oh, no. I don't think it's just a cramp for Katoa. 4 tackling out to 35. 14 minutes left of the game. It is only a 2-point game. Out of the left, Braden Trindle. He's at the 25. At the 25, they go to the left. Nico Hines. He will kick it out for Molitalo, chasing it through. Butner wung it to Wase with a great grab. And that battle has been so awesome to watch tonight. It's been so awesome to watch. No wonder Wase scored 1 try. Molitalo scored 2 tries. Ultimately, I wouldn't necessarily blame Nwanga Wase for the 2 tries that Molitalo scored. He had to come in, especially with the second try. You can't blame him. Good chance for the Sharks there. 3rd tackle at the 20 for the Roosters. Oh, mate, this is finals football, lads. This is elimination finals football. 13 minutes left of one of these two teams' season, unless the Roosters can get a 2-point field goal or a penalty, or just find a way to win. So Roosters, oh geez, good rush up defense there from Billy Burns. He's been so impressive in this back end of the year, man. And Will Candy at the 25. Now Sharks, all you got to do is not make a mistake and don't do anything silly. Candy goes to the left-hand side. He's at the 40, the 45. Oh, down at the 45. Good run. Braden Trindle off to Molitalo. He's at the 40. This is a great set here from Cronulla. Great set. No one's there ready for the ball, but they finally get it. Kale Iro, he brings it to the 30. Great set here for the Sharks. It's been a good finals game. Yes, Sean, it has. Absolutely. Only 2 points in it. Now 25 metres away. 4 tackle. 12 minutes and 20 seconds to go of the game. It's Colhoun out to Adam Fanor-Blake, and he'll be at the 20. Good strong run, though. Oh, that's a strip. That's a penalty. I don't think you take the 2 here, but I could consider it to remove a 2-point field goal and also a penalty, but I don't think you do it. I think you have to suffocate them and you have to go for the try. Billy Smith, that's really dumb. I don't know if I'd take the 2 here. I'd go for the try. No, I think that's the wrong decision. I don't know. Like, I get it. I understand it. I personally wouldn't do it. In a finals game of this nature, it's very close. You do take away the penalty option. You do take away the 2-point field goal. You do force them to kick a conversion with their try, but it's like, I think it would have put a lot of pressure on the Roosters if they had have gone for the try here, and then even if they didn't score, just kept it at the 3. You know, it got tackled at the 3 on fit tackle. I personally, and Nate, of course, you say right call, you Dragons Muppet, but I personally would have gone for the try and then just suffocated them in their own 3. What would you guys do? And I'm not listening to Nate J. He's a Dragons fan. They love taking the 2 and losing by 50. So that's why Nate J is saying that, but I want to see what you guys would have done. Take the points, mate. Runs the clock down too. Does run the clock down, but it also gives the Roosters an opportunity to short kickoff there at the halfway point to get the ball and then be in attacking area already. Does force them to score a try, but there's a lot of things that can come from it. Hines will make the kick. So it is a 14-10 ball game into the Sharks with 10 minutes to go. The elimination final, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Master says you always have to take the 2. Well, I don't believe that you always have to take the 2. Again, I can understand taking the 2 in a finals game, and I can understand the point that Gary's making there. Your point's incorrect, though, because there is context behind taking the 2 and not taking the 2. But I think in the context of this, I would have preferred knowing that either way, if they score a try right now, they can win the game off the next try. They can win the game off the next try, whether they got that 2 or not. They don't go for the short dropout, by the way. They can win the game off of the next try regardless, whether that 2-point was kicked just then or now that the 2-point is kicked and it's still a 6-point game, but they can still win on the next try. Again, it takes away the penalty in the 2-pointer. But I just would have liked to have suffocated them in there. But I can see both sides here. I can understand both sides. But the answer is not you always set the 2. You have to think about different reasoning. Gary says, pressure on the Roosters now cannot afford to make any mistakes. Well, the pressure was on the Roosters down by 2 regardless. 4 tackle now for the Sharks, the 42. 9.5 minutes to go here the game. Again, though, I can see both sides of the argument. It's just I disagree with saying that you always... Oh, Nico Hines makes a knock on at the 50. Oh, dude, Nico, that's bad. Oh, dude, that's bad. If the Roosters score in this set, it's literally the worst decision to take the 2. And the reason being is because if you knock the ball on in the attacking 20, they only get the ball at the 10 or the 20. Instead, they only go up by 4 points And if they score a try here, it is literally off the back of a knock-on at the 50 when it could have been a knock-on at the 10, which is an extra 40 metres. It would be absolutely crushing to see a Roosters try here on the basis that would kind of prove what I was discussing. And I don't want that to be the correct... I don't want to necessarily be proved there. Robert Toya, he'll get up and we first tackle at the 42. Sean says exactly what he said. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, what I said. Second tackle. Now the Sharks are under the pressure. Now the Sharks are under unnecessary pressure, in my opinion, for something that doesn't really benefit you too greatly. But the thing is, you're playing a Roosters team that make a lot of errors, so you just got to try and force an error here. Yes, you can give away a penalty, that's fine. You can give away a penalty now. That's the benefit. It's the risk you take, though. Right-hand side, that's arguably a knock-on here. Arguably a knock-on. It is a knock-on for the Roosters, and that's what I was just saying. I call that as well. The Roosters are a team that are the second most error-ridden team in the entire competition. I actually would personally say that I would challenge this if I was the Roosters, because I could see this going backwards. They are going to challenge it. They are going to challenge it. Gaz, it's good to see someone get my Heinz stroke, mate. I saw your Heinz stroke. Still a Muppet. Still a Muppet. I know what you're doing. I know you're a Muppet, and we've known that for a long time. Someone tackle off the ball. Roosters are complaining about a tackle off the ball. No, the Roosters didn't lose their challenge. It was inconclusive. All right. Tackled off the ball here. No. No. Victor Radley. No, you can't tell me that's a... Radley's run into him, though. I don't know if there's enough evidence from that angle. We need a different angle. Oh, I disagree. Like, I don't know. But, look, I'm okay with it being a penalty. I'm okay with it. But it's weird. Like, I don't think Trindle should be penalised for that. I think that Radley is also looking to contact there. They've said he's looking for the hole. I don't agree. No, it's not a bin, Vonnie Huncho. You're off your rocker. You're off your rocker. A bin? That's insane. That's an insane comment. It's lucky to be a penalty, but they did call a penalty. Lidark Fire says, did that Roosters fan that you sent a voice message to early reply? No. He's at this game, I would assume. Hainsey, he would be at this game. All right, so the Roosters here. 20 metres out from the line. 20 metres out from the line's first tackle. They roll it back at Connor Watson. This is finals 40s, folk. In 7 minutes and 46 seconds, we will find out potentially, unless we got extra time, potentially who is eliminated. One team has 8 minutes left of their season to go on this current market, and it would be the Roosters. Third tackle, 15 metres out. Connor Watson, he'll go to the right-hand side of Sam Walker. Sam Walker at the back into Savala. Savala gives it across into Toya. Toya will be taken down at the 15, fourth tackle. Sharks, you got to defend for your season right now. Savala gives it to Sam Walker across now, not the play. It's fifth tackle, 10 metres out from the line. Fifth tackle. Do they go to Noana Tuwase? Are we going to see Noana Tuwase? No, they're going to go to the left-hand side here. Sam Walker kicks it across here to Daniel Tupou. And he goes. Oh, that's an awful kick from Sam Walker. And arguably a penalty for being taken there, but it's a 7-tackle set regardless. That's a great take. Sione Katoa has had Tupou's number all night, but also I wouldn't blame Tupou for that. I would blame Sam Walker's kick. That wasn't a good enough kick. It gave Katoa a free opportunity at a 7-tackle set. The Sharks get it, 0 tackle, up to 30. That's great work there from Sione Katoa. He has held his own against a much taller Daniel Tupou man all night. He has held his own all night tonight. Now it's the Sharks. By the way, the Sharks in recent years, they've been very well known to, just get knocked out as soon as the possibility of getting knocked out happens. Well, I know they beat the Cowboys last year and then they got knocked out in the prelim to the Panthers, but right now the Sharks are looking like they might be going through to play the winner of tomorrow's Broncos-Raiders game. And I said before the final series started, the finals game I wanted to watch was Sharks versus the Broncos. That is the game I want to see. 4 tackle at the 40. I think it is such an underrated game, man. I think that could be absolutely fire. Sharks here. Toby Rudolph at the 30. Great run, fit tackle. Blake Brayley goes to Braden Trindle. Now we're going to go to Mulatalo and Noanga Tuwase again. They're chancing the arm. Noanga Tuwase catches it, but he's been good under the high ball today out there. That's right. I've already read that comment. All right, so Roosters now. Robert Toya, second tackle. He will be at the 20. 5 minutes and 43 seconds to go of the game. Jeez, Sharks, you haven't won it yet, but and the Roosters errors are back. They haven't called a knock on. Yes, they have. Welcome back to the Roosters. This is what happens. You've had the second most errors in the competition in 2025. They're going to challenge this call. Of course they're going to challenge this call. The errors have caught up to you, Sydney. The errors have caught up to you. The errors have caught up to you. Gary says the Roosters number 5 is an incredible play. Namana Tuwase is incredible, Gary. He's definitely going to be winger of the year. He might play for Australia in the Ashes this year. Otherwise, he'll play for Fiji. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Cleared the Sharks markers is onside, and that's going to be forward. Yep, that's a knock on. So that's going to be Sharks ball. Well, Roosters, this might be your season right here. If the Nate says eat shit, Robbo. Oh, it's so funny when you get to this point of the season and you see teams get knocked out, you see people just shit on them. They just shit on them, and there's nothing they're going to reply. Like, I know that Roosters fans are going to say like they've been able to supersede their expectations, and I agree with them. But it's just so funny seeing those kind of comments at this point of the year. Quist Brown says, Sharkies easy dub. Definitely has not been an easy dub, mate, and you haven't won it just yet. There's 5:20 to go, but if the Sharks score here, it's game over. If the Sharks score here, it's game over. This will be their first win at Shark Park since 2008 in the finals, lads. Well, as if they're going to go for a field goal, Mitchell, to make it a 15-point game and risk a 7 tackle set if they miss it. That'd be the most... I would flip out. I might actually crash out if they did that and the Roosters scored a converted try. I might actually crash out. So out to Jesse Calhoun. And Calhoun's going to be 10 metres away from the line. Yeah, 2008, Sean, the Titans have won a finals game. And they've only won one finals game in their history. More recently, the Sharks have won at home in the finals, in Shark Park. So, Braden Trindle now to Adam Finner-Blake. The last time the Titans won a final, and their only final was 2010 against the Warriors. Sharks haven't won since 2008 at Shark Park in the finals. 5 metres out, Blake Brayley to Oregon. Confirmed! And the Sharkies, you're through! You're through to the second week of the final, Sharkies. You're playing either the Broncos or Raiders in Brisbane or Canberra. Up the damn well nutter, son. Toby Rudolph just comes through like an absolute rocket, son. Like an absolute rocket. And the Sharkies. Well, who predicted the 20-10 score? Did they say Roosters 20-10? Someone predicted a 20-10 score. But the Sharkies, if they throw this away from here, I'm throwing my laptop out of the apartment. Sharks, if you lose this game from here, I'm getting this laptop and I'm going and throwing it clean out of a 5-story apartment right now. Quist Brown says, Sharkies easy dub. Again, it wasn't an easy dub. It was definitely not easy, but it was a tough one. And you know what impressed me the most about the Sharks today? And I called this last week about the Roosters' opponent. The Roosters dominate teams in second halves. But no one gave a shit about the fact that it was 8 players out for the Storm. And also the Rabbitohs who finished in the bottom 4. And the Roosters needed to win to make the finals. But the thing that impressed me is that the Roosters dominated the living shit. They got the whips out. They said, pull your pants down, Sharks. And they just whipped the living shit out of them for 10 minutes. The Sharks could not get out of their own 20. It was like 4 or 5 consecutive sets the Sharks could not make it out of their own damn well defensive 20 on the sets that they were making. Couldn't get out of their own 20. And then the Roosters immediately scored. The Roosters kept getting the attack at the 50, at the 50, at the 50, at the 45, at the 40. And they finally scored, and you thought, okay, 2-point game here. The Roosters go on with this. And the Sharks held firm. They held strong. You could tell they were tired, and they just absolutely belted them. In this last 20 minutes, we're just forcing the errors, putting the pressure on, taking the chance of going out to Namana Tuwase. Namana Tuwase is the most hyped player in the competition right now. Mulatalo has gone and done his job over here. Namana Tuwase has also done a great job for himself, but Mulatalo has done a great job running into that corner and going up against him. He scored 2 tries himself. The point is that the Sharks faced adversity today, which is something we haven't seen again for them for years. The Sharks faced adversity today, which they don't ever do. They just absolutely coughed it up against the Panthers last year. They also coughed it up in the first week against the Storm last year. They coughed their facing adversity up against the Roosters a couple of years ago. They coughed facing adversity up against the Cowboys a year before that in 2021. This team is a perennial choker when it comes to finals. And today has shown a lot about why the Sharks are able to potentially go deep and actually potentially beat the loser of tomorrow's game. Because this Sharks team has a balanced roster has been able to hold their own against an in-form Roosters team. But again, the Sharks should have been favourites for this game today. The Sharks should have been favourites this game today. And anyone who got on the underdog here, they shouldn't have been the underdog. The Sharks have won 7 out of their last 8 games. They're 7-1. They beat the Roosters by 13 plus when they played last on 31-18 about 6 weeks ago, or whatever it was, 7 weeks ago. You know, this Sharks team finish higher. They're at home. At the end of the day, the Roosters should never have been favourites for this game. If anything, I'll be happy with $1.90 a piece, but the odds did not make sense. Just imagine losing the Sharks. Just couldn't be me. Shut up, Tigers fan. Please, don't start me. Hey, well, here you go. The Sharks beat the Titans. How about that one, Mitchell? Sharks number 10, lapping up the fans. Love that. Yeah, Toby Rudolph. No, he's one of those kind of players everyone gets around. 20-10, the Sharks. What a game it's been, though. This has been, I would actually say I preferred this game to the Storm Bulldogs game last night. Right now, I'd rank the 3 games so far. Sharks, Roosters, Storm Bulldogs, Warriors, Panthers. Would you guys disagree? Joshua says, go the Sharks. Glad I watched this game. Tyrone says, it's been a great game. And again, it's been great because the Roosters could have run away with this, but the Sharks said, screw that shit. We're not getting done on our own home turf again. And they found a way to win, but the Roosters do have a chance. And Nawani Tuwase at the 30 to 35. Either way, it's 2 scores. It's not happening. But Nawani Tuwase again pushes away. Nawani Tuwase again. Oh, he's kicked that ball back on the inside. The Sharks get the ball. And that's definitely the game. Roosters, you are going to be chucked onto. Dun, 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 dun. Eliminated. 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 You have been removed. Sydney Roosters, you are eliminated, son. Sharkies now at the halfway point. Roosters too many errors. Well, Leon, they've been doing it all year. They're the second most error-ridden team in the comp. It's the Cowboys, the Roosters, the Knights, the Storm, and the Eels. The Storm are the 4th most errors in the competition. Storm. The Sharks here at the 40. They'll be now 35 metres out fit tackle. Go for a field goal, you cats. Go for a field goal, you cats. Blake Bradley to Braden Trindle. He will kick this ball over the sideline. And with 25 seconds to go, you wouldn't like to be a Roosters fan inside Sharky Park right now. Franco says up at the Sharkies. Little Dark Fire says the Sharks are eating KFC for dinner. Mate, what a game this has been. Would you guys agree with me, though, in regards to the order? Would you guys agree to the order of what I've had? I'd say the Sharks Roosters has been the best game in the finals. Then you'd go Storm versus the Bulldogs. And then you'd say Warriors Panthers. And there we go. It is official. It is official. The Sharks have eliminated the Sydney Roosters. They are gone. Clack, clack the fuck out of here. Clack, clack, boom. Out of here, son. The Sharkies with the up, the nulla. They are through to the second week, and they will play the winner of tomorrow's game, which is the Raiders versus the Broncos. Sean says, best game so far, and call. Appreciate you, Sean. Get around it. Yeah, happy for Nicker. We had a good game. I love that Little Dark Fire. He cops a lot of criticism. He absolutely he cops it ridiculous amount, but, you know, he was able to pull through today. I thought he was solid. I think last week was probably better, but I still think that tonight was a very solid game for him. But again, overall, I really want to focus in on the fact the Sharks held strong when they were facing absolute adversity. The Sharks held strong despite the fact the Roosters were pumping the living shit out of them from the 40th to the 50th minute. And the Sharks were able to prevent them from just getting on a roll. And that's how the Storm lost 40-10. When they were up 10-0 at half time, the Storm, they lost 40-10. They conceded 40 straight points in the second half. That's how they lost. Again, 8 plays out. But still, they let a couple of early tries and the Roosters just went bang, 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 bang. Same thing with South Sydney game last week, where the Roosters were leading at half time, but by a very slim margin. And then they scored a couple of quick tries at the beginning of the second half, and they just went bang, 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 bang. You know, that is what the Roosters do. They need to see you fold under the pressure, and the Sharks usually do fold under the pressure. They are a very big team of folding under the pressure, but today they did not, and that's what most impressed me. Vomp says, Vomp says, so you're telling me, okay, this is, guys, I need you to listen up here. This is a very big telling point here. So you're telling me the Cronulla Sharks won this game since they have 10 more points than Sydney Roosters. Now, Vomp B, I'm going to need you to put a seatbelt on here. I'm going to need you to put a seatbelt on. I'm going to click on. I'm going to need you to really listen up and use the old noggin here. The Sharks will be playing next week, and the Roosters will not be playing next week. And the reason for that is because the Sharks with 20 points, that's more than 10 points. That's a 10-point gap. So that means the Sharks have eliminated the KFC Bondi Latte Sippers. There's no lattes tonight, lads. If you want a latte, I'm charging you double. All right, your almond lattes, you're getting charged double. There's no almond lattes tonight. But there is an absolute time at Northies coming up. Let's invite Todd Carney along. Ethan says, woohoo, up, Cronulla. Timmy Cagle says, good stream. Now I'm watching Big Ange. Get around you. Chris says, thank you for the tip. Well, actually, this is what I'm doing, Chris. You know, not always am I right, but I don't see why the Sharks weren't favourites here. I really don't get it. I have no idea how the Roosters came into this game as favourites. Leon says, you reckon Sharks challenge the loser or Broncos Raiders? You reckon Sharks challenge loser or Broncos Raiders? I don't even know what that means, but Broncos Raiders, I think if the Sharks play the Raiders in Canberra, the Sharks could beat them. I think if the Sharks play the Broncos at Suncorp, I don't know how to call that game. That is a very, very hard game to predict. And I'm really hoping the Broncos lose tomorrow. Not because the Broncos to lose, but I'm hoping the Broncos to lose tomorrow because that would mean they play the Sharks. And I said for the last 4 weeks, if you guys watch all my streams, I said for so long that my favourite finals game, I believe, will be Sharks versus the Broncos because I don't know who to call. I don't know who to tip. I think they're both the most inconsistent. Well, they're both very inconsistent in different parts of the field. I think the Sharks are more consistent overall, but the Broncos have more flair about their game. The Sharks play a very much one-up kind of style of footy for the most part, whilst the Broncos play a very much flair, extravagant, kind of throw the ball around but can come a gutser as well. They're high risk, high reward, but also living in the absolute shithouse if that high risk, high reward doesn't come off. Whilst the Sharks, they don't really play that expansive game, and their floor can be bad, but it's still more of a kind of flat line. And I really think a Sharks-Broncos, the way those two teams would match up would be really incredible. I do. I think it'd be really incredible stuff. Von P says, what will happen if the players that have no more games? So they're going to be going to Bali, but I would suggest not Bali right now. Send them to Fiji, mate. Send them to Fiji. So they're probably going to go to Fiji. Yeah. Timmy says, you'll probably find Roosters played in Malaysia or wherever you are these days. I'm in Vietnam again, bro. I was in Malaysia last week, though. King Mitchell Moses says, I hope Titans win the comp. The Titans have already won the comp, mate. This is just a little bit of fun at the end. Brendan says, Raiders will win. Sean Newer says, Sharks the best team in the league. They just had a slow start. I will not necessarily disagree with you. Again, I call the Sharks to win the comp pre-season. So I'm going to, a captain's going to go down with this ship, and I've said this many times this season, and no matter what they go on scam, no matter what they go on fraud alert, I'm still going to back them in on the basis that I saw this team before the season started. That's why I had them in first. Monkey Muay Thai said, I think we see the Sharks versus the Broncos next week. Think Raiders will start strong. Well, we'll be live for it tomorrow. So, guys, I'm going to jump off it for now. We will obviously be back for the Canberra Raiders versus the Brisbane Broncos in a big matchup there. Whoever wins will go through the preliminary final and play the winner of the Panthers and Bulldogs game. The loser of tomorrow's game will end up playing the Cronulla Sharkies after the Roosters have been eliminated. But I appreciate you guys as always. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. We'll be live an hour before the game tomorrow. An hour before the game to talk all things Raiders and Broncos. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.